just remember you right now. Got to get down, find a rhythm to pick me up and catch the beat of this town. Walk up on it together. Got to get down, trace the bullet and sift the dust and catch the beat of this town. What to find to feel better? The street lights and the ravers and my trails of misbehavior, lost in liquid nights and whirling disco lights. The burden of tomorrow, all the shame, regret and sorrow, lost in liquid nights and whirling disco lights. I'm whirling to the half-light, shivers down my spine. Don't know what I'm becoming, but I know I'm making mine. I can't recall a thing, so why do I feel so sad? I can't recall a thing, so why do I feel so sad?
Hello, and welcome back to Disco Elysium. That's a bit loud. The game has since been updated to the Final Cut version since last we played, so I'm just going to be starting a new playthrough. But one major change that they have made since the last time I played this is that they have added a lot of voicing for pretty much all the dialogue, finally. Excuse me. So, no need to kill myself reading all the voice lines and whatnot. So, that should make things a bit easier, hopefully. Alright, let's do this. This one I just need to adjust my headset real quick. Okay, there we go. Sorry if the mic sounds a bit funky. I am using a new one, actually, and still trying to work the hiccups out of the setup of it. So if this sounds a bit strange, please just let me know in the chat, and I will be kicking myself when I review the video later, I'm sure. Okay. Welcome in. How's the mic sounding tonight? Might help if I actually pull up the game. There we go. Okay, we are in Disco Elysium Final Cut here. We are looking at the stat screen here, where you get to choose the different kind of playstyle you're going to have. Different ability scores will actually give you different dialogue options, as well as kind of different routes to solve story problems. There's thinker, you're psychological and all that, sensitive, you're a little bit on the weird side. That's the one I chose in my first playthrough. In physical, you just shove your way through everything. Basically, the musclehead. Emotionally intelligent and strong, but clumsy and unaware. I am now in this game. Well, looks like it'd be a good signature skill here. Authority, Spirited Core, Empire, that's a fun one. These stat images are horrifying. It begins anew.
There is nothing. Only warm primordial blackness. Your conscious ferments in it. No larger than a single grain of malt. You don't have to do anything anymore. Ever. Never, ever.
Never, ever, ever.
Never, ever, ever, baby.
Simply keep non-existent.
An inordinate amount of time passes. It is utterly void of struggle. No ex-wives are contained within it.
What was that about the X something?
An awareness creeps up on you. A mass lies hidden in your dead angle, soaking in some lurid acidic sauce. It's bloated and shameful, a ball of meat surrounding you. This is a terrible line of questioning, and it will only lead to more awareness of the meat thing.
Back into the fathomless deep.
There. No ball of meat. No light in the formless nothing. Just night swimming.
How about you cough up some more of that sweet oblivion?
Coming right up, sir. Smooth passage. All right. Nothing town to fuck all borough.
Return true to the silence, please.
Do you want me to upgrade that to a one-way trip, sir?
Honestly, I don't like either of these options, but...
The song of death is sweet and endless. But what is this? Somewhere in the sore, bloated man meat around you. A sensation. Like a fly to the ointment, your conscience sticks to it. The limbed and headed machine of pain and undignified suffering is firing up again. It wants to walk the desert, hurting, longing, dancing to disco music.
You can take it. You're a champion.
Mother help me, there's a head attached to my neck and I'm in it.
The stench of liquor rises from your mouth, and with it, an ungodly headache.
I hope someone cut my head off just trying to murder the rest of me.
A fiery streak penetrates your skull, trying to force your eyes open. It's a sound, a clarion call from hell.
But for Meissen, it was only a Tuesday. Let's take a look around here.
This fan has two chain pull switches. One ends in a tiny fan, the other in a light bulb. A truly horrific necktie has somehow attached itself
Just
to one of
once.
the blades.
And we're back. Well, here we go.
Or has it been consigned there as punishment? You feel as though this creature is your friend and wants to reattach itself to your neck so that you may continue your adventures together in this strange world. You reach out to grab the tie, but what's this? Diffuse, radiating chest pain. Doom comes over you. This is bad. Feels like sharp stones grinding in your chest and keeping you from moving for quite a long time. Still ongoing. Now is a good time to start worrying. Finally, the pressure recedes. You find yourself covered in cold sweat and trying not to move, hoping it will keep you from dying.
That was fun.
The blades come squeaking to a halt. It should be easier to reach the tie now. You swoop up and catch the tie. Snap. It's released from the blade. Warning, warning, the necktie is no longer contained. What you have in your hand is a fantastically colorful tie with 4 or 5 different patterns. The knot reminds you of a noose. A terrible mistake. Turn the lights off immediately. You can practically feel the photons burning a hole in your brain.
Not again.
It's just a little hangover-induced photosensitivity. Don't overreact.
You can't tell me what to do.
Little black spots dance on your retinas. It's almost pleasurable.
Almost.
A mirror hangs above a bent and broken sink. In a fierce discharge of masculine energy, someone has ripped half the faucet off.
Someone did that once where I used to work a while back. I had a bit of a temper problem, and just straight up bent the nozzle one night when I wasn't even there. Crazy times, I tell you.
Hot water sprays from the base, and steam covers the mirror. You cannot see yourself, just the outline of a man. Suddenly, you realize you have no memory of the face that awaits you there, underneath the soft vapor. Really, all recollection of the person you are, the people in your life, and even the world you're in has drowned in a sea of blood alcohol. This was no mere night of drinking. It was a deluge of world-ending proportions. As you slowly reach your hand towards the surface of the mirror. Abort. You clearly have not thought this through. You won't like what you see there, and you will never unbecome it. Yeah, there is definitely something wrong with it.
What is it?
Where to even begin? There is the bloatedness, then the swollenness. It's like there's an upholstery of alcohol underneath your skin. Bet you are. Your nose feels like a small balloon in the middle of your face. It hurts when you honk it. It doesn't appear to be a particularly tiny nose either. Not with all the drinks it's absorbed for you. It's not. It's swollen and snail-like, wriggling between your fingers.
Gross.
Behold.
Behold, a man.
You have no idea who this thing is, do you?
Dear Lord, help me, what is this?
Whatever it is, at least it's dead now. There's clearly rigor mortis on your face. Oh wait, is that an expression? Are you trying to make an expression with that face?
It just does it, man.
Please stop. It's horrible. You're scaring yourself.
No.
You can't, can you? It's like it's not even voluntary anymore. You have worn that grin into your face, and now it won't come off. What does it even mean? What is the emotion you're trying to convey?
Superstar.
You should check yourself for a pulse, superstar. From here, it looks like a cadaverous spasm. You find no sign of life on your swollen neck. However, putting your hand on your chest reveals an irregular heartbeat. You appear to be alive, for now.
Oh, that's one mystery not solved.
You hear a jingle. Keys are clinking in the pocket of your flare-cut pants. It says, whirling in rags, on the aluminium keyring. There is a single key on the ring. The number 1 is etched on it. It should open the door.
At least we won't be trapped in here forever. Oh, no.
The window stands broken in its frame. Cold wind blows in. The morning light hurts your eyes. It's hazy, but you see the ocean and some war-torn buildings. The shards face outward. Whatever broke this window came from the inside.
It's already inside the hotel.
A fine web of scarring covers the back of your right hand, but none of it is recent.
What did that?
More likely a projectile than a held object. There are no fragments on the floor from pulling a tool back in after impact.
Wait, what am I doing?
Something you've done before.
Okay. What is the size of the impact?
It is too large for a bullet, yet too small for a piece of furniture. You're looking for something heavy and larger than your fist.
But would it fit in a bread box?
The single green shoe you found fits the hole almost as well as your foot. It would have also been heavy enough if thrown with force. Congratulations. You smashed the window with your own shoe. Now you only have one. If you're lucky, you could still find the other one on the balcony outside. The door to it should be outside your room.
Maybe it was
You
someone
mean
else.
someone else took your shoe off and smashed the window with it? A cool wind gushes in. Your toes curl up from the cold.
I mean, at the very least, he isn't a socks with sandals kind of guy. The smell of the sea makes you dizzy. Gusts of briny wind washes over you.
There they both are. Two identical shoes, both copiously green and indiscriminately snakeskin, reunited on your feet.
A rivet?
Good, they're balanced, comfy. Feels like the only good thing about you right now, truth be told.
Fair enough.
Hello, officer.
Morning, citizen.
The young woman raises a cigarette to her lips.
Am I military personnel?
No.
Perplexed by the question.
There's only one solution to this. You're a businessman.
I'm a businessman, chief executive officer, right?
The young woman shakes her head slowly.
Chief technical?
No. You're a police officer, sir.
You're shitting.
I'm not. Unless you've been shitting us all this time.
Yes.
You've been here for 3 days. On official police business, no less.
And what business is that?
I couldn't say. In truth, so far, mostly drinking.
I should get going.
Of course. Be careful, officer. They don't like the police around here.
She looks back at you, a light glinting off her eyes.
Goodbye.
You should pick that fat, juicy cigarette butt from the tray, light it up, and smoke the living shit out of it.
Am I a smoker?
Who knows what you are? A monster, a murderer, the gnome of Jeroma? You feel like a smoker, especially when you look at that juicy, succulent, seductive cigarette stub, still smoldering deliciously.
It's just a filter. You can't smoke that.
How very astute of you. This renders it ineffectual. You should look for a whole cigarette, or better yet, an entire pack. Strike that. A carton. Make sure they're all healthy and able-bodied. Then smoke them all.
That seems like a terrible idea.
The idea seems to make your neck expand. Suddenly, the garish tie feels very snug.
Or you could not do that. No one is making you.
I'll think about it.
Good. Thinking about yummy cigarettes in your mouth is the next best thing. Make sure you think about juicy sticks of tobacco all the time, though. It doesn't count if it's not all the time.
This is what the tobacco industry wants.
And when you're done thinking about them, graduate to getting them. Plus, smoking them gives massive bonuses.
Like an additional satirical newspaper, Trump Le Monde. I'm probably butchering the pronunciation of that. Karaoke night, just waiting for someone to sing into it. Lyrics. Speaker.
You should totally sing karaoke here, the first chance you get. Your emotions need to be expressed. People need to know your vast, oceanic soul.
Absolutely.
Utterly. And it needs to be heard.
Yeah.
Through a PA system.
Yeah.
By other people.
Yes.
Whether they like it or not. Ram it up their ears, says your adrenaline gland. Violently express yourself.
This goes well with the theory I'm developing. That I'm merely a superstar.
Who is mistakenly identified as a cop for his prominent jawline? Yes. Sounds likely. You should probably go on stage and pose for a moment when you're done with this thought. See if it works.
What should I sing when it comes to it?
You have not yet stumbled on the right lamentation, but it's out there. It'll come to you. You will wreak havoc with it. Don't worry.
Yeah.
Serves them right. Wipe that smirk off their face with your sad, tragic song. Who's laughing now? No one.
I'll show them all.
You have to find something tragic to sing first, though.
Yeah, that's fair.
A man in his late 20s stands behind the counter, inspecting a stuffed seabird. As you approach, he gives you a sideways glance, then looks down again. That was disdain in his eyes. Even now he is purposely ignoring you. Looks like he's not a fan.
You don't like me very much, do you?
Oh no, you're a hero. A real hero cop.
I agree.
Could the massive property damage upstairs have anything to do with this?
So not only am I a cop, I'm a hero.
Yes, you are. A real decorated hero. What did you not do? First you took the body down, then you solved the murder, then you didn't trash my hostel room. Maybe you even negotiated the strike.
I don't appreciate your tone, mister.
Oh, it's not? You're right. It's not.
He has no respect for you personally, but this man sees himself as a law-abiding citizen, and you a representative of that law. He tries to avoid outright conflict.
And that law is the second one of thermodynamics, particularly entropy.
A competent work of taxidermy. The white and brown seabird lies among piles of coasters and drying mugs. One of its wings broken. The man is trying to mend it. Looks like the bird was ripped off the shield that was used to mount it, most likely on a wall. Something about it makes you feel bitter.
Can I help you with this?
Look, your buddy is over there.
Looks like the doors for a man in a bomber jacket is tapping his foot on the floor.
Why don't you go and talk to him, okay?
I can with the tone.
He pretends not to hear you, concentrating on the bird instead.
You're the bartender.
No, I'm not the bartender. I'm the cafeteria manager.
What's the difference?
I have 3 cafeterias to manage. 3. Sylvie tends the bar here, not me. I'm only standing in.
That's illegal.
She just, you know,
There's something there, and it's not good. That's all you know for now.
And we're leaving. No suffix. What a cooler. A large bubble is rising to the surface. The menu has been wiped clean, only the word Monday is written on it. I will take your finest Monday, sir. Someone's working in the kitchen, and it ain't me. Reserve for personnel until 1300. Mess hall reserved for union members, doors open 1600.
Hello, sweetie.
A cryptozoologist's wife.
You shouldn't keep your colleague waiting.
Peanuts toward the man in the Wonder Bomber jacket.
A bespectacled man in an orange bomber jacket is tapping his foot on the floor. Looks like he's waiting for someone. You. As you approach, he narrows his eyes and extends his hand in greeting. If an assault were launched on this building right now, if the windows came crashing down and the whole world descended upon you, this man would hurl himself in death's way to save you. You are sure of this, but why?
Who is he, though?
He is your half-brother.
Oh, okay.
Hello, I'm Kim Kitsuragi, Lieutenant, Precinct 57. You must be from the 41st.
You realize he's waiting for your name. This is your chance to come up with a really good name for yourself. Get creative. Conceptualize. Concentration makes you squint your eyes. Your name should be deep gold and orange, like a forest fire looming on the horizon, but mixed with the stench of liquor rising from your breath. You're 2 steps closer to it, but there are still many to go.
Time's not yet nigh.
Okay then.
He processes the information and disregards it.
It looks like we had a little scheduling error on Sunday. Saturday too, actually. Have you had time to talk to the manager here? If you don't mind, we should talk to him again. Ask him for a rundown of the area. Now that I'm here as well. I understand the scene is out back, right?
Correct.
It also wouldn't hurt to assure him the police are finally here. In full force, I mean. Have you mapped out the initial interviews?
Yes, the police.
Right. And the interviews?
No.
Okay. We'll have time for that after we take a look at the coroner's case. Have you removed the dead body from the tree? So, the body is still in the tree.
Yes.
This is the first time you detect a weariness in the lieutenant's voice. It is obvious he would have preferred for the body to no longer be in the tree.
Where it has been hanging for 7 days straight. We should go there as soon as we are done talking to the owner.
I can't be so sure I'm from the police.
I was sent here to meet a detective from Precinct 41. You have the insignia of the Citizens Militia on your sleeve and on your back.
Shit, they're on
I suppose you could be impersonating him. You could have gotten the insignia from the black market or forged it. But for now, I'm going to set those possibilities aside. I'm not from the Inspectorate General.
Inspector General?
Internal Affairs. And I'm not them. I'm from Criminal Investigation.
CSI Revolution.
Yes,
But they're just
they are not
long
just white rectangles. They bear a halogen watermark with the letters RCM and a pattern resembling the street grid of Revachol West. I would ask you to step into the headlights of my motor carriage, but again, it's none of my concern. I just need you to do your job.
Don't have a badge or something?
You mean you don't have a badge?
I guess. I have it right here.
Oh, if you didn't have your badge, then that would be very bad. You would need to report it on my shortwave. But since you do have it, we can go straight to the task at hand. I can see you drank last night and the night before, and that you are still drunk now. But I have seen officers go through worse. Much worse. If you need something for your headache, there is a general store nearby. But as I said, the dead body should be our #1 concern.
A painkiller would be good about now. This thing is pulsating with discomfort. The best cure for a headache is, of course, morphine. They won't have that, so cigarettes will have to do.
If I told you I'm not really a police officer.
We all feel that way sometimes. There is no such thing as a police officer, I'm afraid. What remains is that there is a dead body in the tree. Someone has to figure out who put it there. If we don't, no one else will.
Maybe it just grew there. Maybe it's one of those weird Tim Burton trees.
But first, we have to take it down. Talk to the manager. Then we go out back and take the body down.
Got it.
After you, officer.
No, after you. Alright, fine.
The man with the unimpressive beard notices you approaching. He drops the ledger he was holding and turns to the lieutenant.
Mr. Gart, right? You run this place.
Yes.
He responds tersely.
I am Kim Kitsuragi from Precinct 57. This is an inter-district investigation, so joining me from Precinct 41...
What's glowing orange like a forest fire but smells like liquor?
Are you kidding me?
No, tell me.
It's you. It's obviously you. You smell like liquor. And you're orange.
How dare you?
See? Everyone agrees it's your color scheme. We're on the right track with this name thing.
Is this what you get when you call the police now? We've been waiting for a week here.
Sir, I understand your concern, but we are here to do a job. And for us to do it, I need you to stay calm.
Yes, of course.
For a moment, the cafeteria manager fidgets under the lieutenant's gaze. Then he gives in.
I know it took us a while to arrive at the scene, but it also took you a while to call us. It was you who placed the call, correct?
No, I only just got here. It was probably Sylvie who called you. She usually works the bar here. I'm only temporarily taking over her duties.
Do you have her number?
As a matter of fact, I do.
Looks behind a pile of coasters, finds a slip of paper and hands it to the lieutenant.
You said you just got here. From where? Are you a local?
What, of Martinez? No, I live in Jamrock. I only sometimes come here to keep an eye on the place. This is just one of the many, many cafeterias I manage.
But you still know your way around, yes? In case we need directions.
Yes, I know where some things are, but as I said, I don't live here. I just used to work here. And I'm not going to start working here again, if that's what you think.
I didn't imply that. Detective,
Yes?
I have everything. You?
Do I have questions?
Yes, yes. He means, do you have questions for me, like a police officer would?
Where is the body?
Behind this building, there's a courtyard. They hoisted him up on a tree there.
And how do we get there?
That's easy. See that door there? First you exit through that. Then, to your right, you should see a big hole in the fence. A really big one. You can get to the courtyard through there. No need for the keys. The hole is big enough for the Franco-Nigerian cavalry to fit through.
Does he want you to feel guilty of making that hole? It's implied in his voice.
Who killed him?
I don't know who killed him. I'm not the police. That's your job.
Did you do it?
What are you, crazy? Of course I didn't kill him.
That sounds like something a murderer would say.
Suddenly you tense up. Blood is being pushed to your muscles. You should hound him on this. Hound him hard. The prey drive says.
Did you? Did you kill him, Garrett?
No, I didn't.
You can tell me. Did you? Did you do
I
it?
didn't. I don't appreciate this. What is this?
Why'd you do it?
Do I have to answer him? Is this mandatory?
The lieutenant stands motionless, his expression unreadable.
Did he hurt you, Gart? Is that why? Did you get some kind of sick kick out of killing him?
What are you, an idiot? I told you I haven't killed anyone.
Anyone? Have you killed someone else then?
He ignores you.
Yeah. That's Silver Claw.
She went away because none of your business.
This is the second time you've avoided
Oh
this
my
subject.
god, what is your obsession with this Sylvie person? Get over it.
Maybe it's he who's obsessed with this Sylvie person. Certainly sounds like it.
Let's go.
Not so fast. You owe me 130 real.
You owe me 130 real.
No one is saying the multi-pattern necktie you found tied to the ceiling fan can talk. No one. It must be merely imagination. But
Let's bail! Time to push the eject button! Sounds like a responsibility! You don't like those!
Oh, excuse me. You owe me 130 real.
Now it's a cigar with a mock aristocratic accent.
the IIR, or Inter-Isolary Real, is the global reserve currency. Whatever part of the world you're in right now, it's safe to assume he means you owe him some money.
You mean some form of street cred?
No, you don't owe me street cred. You owe me money. You owe this establishment 130 real.
Who does that clown think he is? Arrest him!
Did I just hear my tie speak to me twice?
No one is saying that! No one is saying that Ty can talk! That would be ludicrous! It's just that you should arrest him! It would be wiser! He wants to take your money!
The lieutenant looks at you tugging on your garish tie. He puts his hand on your shoulder.
If you don't have the money, it's okay. None of us are in this for the wages.
That's cop 4. I haven't offered to pay because I don't have any money either.
What do I owe
Let's
this place
see.
for?
3 nights at a tariff of 20 real comes to 60 real. Then there's the window you annihilated. The hole in the window was the first thing I saw when I came to work. So don't try to tell me you didn't. That will be 40 real in damages. Another thing you've annihilated is half the bar. You've run a tab of 30 real. Actually more, but we'll round it down to 30 for your hard work maintaining the stability and order of Revachol. That's 60 plus 40 plus 30 equals 130 real. And yes, real is still money.
What is money?
What are you, a philosopher?
Yes.
Money is what grown-up people use to pay for things. Things like this hostel room, or 8 bottles of potent blend, and 9 packs of Royal Extra. We use it for everything, really.
Where do I get it?
Are you serious? From your work? I don't know. You can take bribes, I guess. I'm sorry. I don't think cops can take bribes.
Some do take recompense, but only to survive.
Where do I need it?
For survival, to pay me. Unless you want to become a hobo. Do you want to become a hobo? There's nowhere else to stay in Martinez, and it's a cold spring outside. Money doesn't make you happy, but it lets you be unhappy for a while longer. If you run out of money, you die. It's like that for all of us. Me too. That's why I need you to pay me. I'm not an asshole.
Is this money?
Yes, it is. No, you see, that's 40 cents. Cents are a form of currency 100 times smaller than the real. I'm not even going to take this. Come back when you have 130 real.
That's horrible.
It is.
He demonstratively suppresses a world-weary sigh.
We're under
You can't
arrest.
arrest me. I haven't done anything.
From the bottom of your blue soul, a term emerges.
Refusal to help an officer of the peace, you're impeding me from carrying out a murder investigation with your inane request for money.
But it's not inane. You owe me money.
You owe me money.
It is cruel of you. A man has been killed. File a request for compensation with Station 41. We need to work now.
Okay, you'll only have to pay for the window and the drinks. That's 70. I'll get the rest from your stupid station.
I'm not paying for the
Fine, I'll take it off the bill. You want to sleep in a post-apocalyptic shithole? Go ahead, but I'm not giving you another room.
I don't remember drinking that.
The Ledger does. The Ledger has a memory. The drinks are non-negotiable. There's no way your station will pay for them.
Thank you for your cooperation.
Don't thank me. You still owe me 30 for the drinks. If you don't have it by tonight, I'm not letting you back up there.
That's enough now, sir. Good day.
By the way, where is home? The address is coming up blank, and this place sure isn't it.
Do I have one?
But you've been at this hostel cafeteria for only 3 nights. Where were you before? You had to be somewhere.
Far
In
away.
time or space.
Yes.
That doesn't sound like somewhere you can stay if you run out of money.
I live in a dumpster. Fuck everything. Hobo cop.
Entertain the thought when you get the time. Maybe being a hobo and a cop has its advantages.
Yes. Problem. A cop and a hobo. A hobo cop, upsized, can be disheveled, doesn't have to walk, carries himself with virtue gusto. Hobo cop doesn't need anyone or anything, nor get kicked out because you don't have a home. Never pay rent again, never again here. You're drunk. Why did you even come here, Harry? Go home. You're embarrassing yourself. Downsides, are there any? I mean, seriously, give me one. Yeah.
Yes?
You seem to be following.
Excuse me?
Nothing, just an
You have
observation.
a distinctive way of walking. If I were to walk in front of you, we would surely collide.
What do you mean, distinctive?
I hope you don't take this the wrong way. It's just a collegial observation. In the 57th, we call it the Jamrock Shuffle. Officers from Jamrock's 41st Precinct tend to move a bit erratically.
How so?
They say it's a scene-clearing technique developed by one of your lieutenants for gathering evidence. It's erratic, yet thorough. Prioritizes containers.
Why containers?
I don't know. Containers contain, I guess. I'm making assumptions. We should move on.
Passing along frivolous interdepartmental stereotypes is not usually his oeuvre. He regrets bringing it up.
That's all for right now. Okay.
Hello again, sweetie. I see you've met up with your colleague.
The lieutenant nods politely. Wait, who's Sweetie?
Does that mean you like me?
You're a handsome man, officer, with your mustache and your chiseled jaw and that silly dimple on your chin.
It's a serious dimple, thank you.
But dear, you're not for me. I'm too old and too married besides.
Fair enough.
You must forgive me. I'm getting so scatterbrained. I completely forgot to introduce myself. I'm Lena. My husband Morel and I are staying with our friend Gary just down the street, but I come here for tea when they're away.
This Lena is wacky enough for the motley crew. Hire her on the spot.
How would you like to roll with me?
Whatever do you mean?
Want to be my wheelchair partner in fighting crime, raiding backyards of corpses, catching sequence killers.
Sequence killers? Oh my. But I think you already have a partner, sweetie.
A partner who'll need you to help him get a corpse down from a tree.
But there are side mysteries, sequence killers, and forays into the paranatural.
I can assure you, with absolute certainty, there are no sequence killings taking place in Martinez.
Now, gentlemen, no need to squabble. I wouldn't be of much use to you anyway, sweetie.
Why, 3 heads are better than 2.
Thank you, but Martinez isn't the most wheelchair-accessible place, you see. I'd slow you down.
That's fair.
Perhaps another time.
You seem to be in a chair.
Yes, dear. I'm a paraplegic.
I apologize that I am an idiot.
A paraplegic is someone with limited or no ability to use the lower half of their body. Paraplegia is caused by spinal cord injuries, like falling from a great height, or a grenade explosion.
A grenade? Did you fight in a war?
No, dear. I'm not quite that old. Although I was injured in the line of duty.
Were you a mountaineer?
Nothing so glamorous, dear. Though when I was young, I dreamt of planting the Revacholian flag on some figurative peak.
What did you do then?
I was a training and development manager at a rapidly expanding mail-order shoe company. You'd think it would be a safe job, but I had to be everywhere, and, well, once I happened to be under some faulty scaffolding. I was lucky. This was almost 20 years ago, and I was compensated exceptionally well. One can only dream of such payoffs nowadays.
I'm sorry. It was rude of me to mention you in the chair. Let's move on.
That's quite all right. I'm used to people asking questions. I know they're thinking about it anyway.
There is no bitterness in her voice. She accepted the curiosity her condition inspires a long time ago.
I don't know if you've noticed, but I remember absolutely nothing.
Yes, officer. You look rather dazed. Like a stunned fox. But surely things can't be that bad.
She nods, but still looks worried.
It's fine. It's fine.
Of course, dear. Good luck with your case.
Can I help you?
I'm going to sing karaoke.
Absolutely out of the question.
You wait and see, cafeteria manager. Absolutely in the question. First we find a sad banger. Then we sing this place to shit.
It's about that money I owe.
Yes, have you got it?
How much do I owe
For the
you?
drinks, 30 real. Like what? I was really enjoying talking about the money you owe me.
I've seen something at the whirling here. I want to talk
What
about it.
thing?
What's the union side?
Yes, not the whole damn union, thank God. Just the nastiest and loudest faction. They come here in the evenings. Dumb, unruly types. Think they're big shit. But they're good customers. They place big orders and always pay on time.
He hates the union, but grudgingly recognizes its power over him. So he's directing his frustration at you instead. Retaliate.
It's a shame getting sucked up to the union to stay afloat.
I don't. I'm simply providing a service, or really facilitating the offering of services to paying customers, and it doesn't matter. I don't have to explain myself to you.
Joke's on you, I already did.
We should find out who this Lord faction is, occupying the booth. Loudness means talkative, and we need info.
How do we find them?
We don't. We have to wait. They'll show up sooner or later. Men get hungry, even striking men. If not today, then they'll be here tomorrow.
I saw a sign that said I couldn't go into the kitchen. Why not?
What are you, a cook now? That's none of your business.
Maybe I am.
You're not. You're a menace. Fine, okay. The kitchen is closed until 1 p.m. because the real cook is working. You can snoop around after that, if you must.
I'll snoop around before then.
What?
By the way, you should come back to this thing-based questionnaire if you see anything interesting in the whirling later.
Saw another thing.
Another thing. Great. I love those.
Really?
Yes.
I guess we're leaving.
All around you, rain falls on the great city of Revachol. Rain drips from the eaves and floods the gutters, washing the filth away. The spring thaw must be here. The snow is melting. Looking up at the sky, cold water dripping from your hair.
What do I see?
Grey sky like great battleships, clouds colliding with one another. Rain falls down on the world.
How does it feel?
Your shirt sticks to your chest. The shoulders of your disco blazer grow heavy. The cold finds its way in under your skin. You shiver, and the city shivers with you.
To the west?
Sheets of rain over the water, a flight of stairs leading into the ocean. Wave after wave washing the coast of Martinaise, with its motorboats and gently swaying reeds. The ruins of a half-sunken sea fort crumble on an inlet beyond the Bay of Revachol. Ghosts rise into the sky.
Who are you, spirit?
The skyscrapers of La Delta, the financial district. Faint golden light seeps from the office windows. Will you ever go there?
Will I?
No, you are just one of the hundreds of thousands who watch them rise across the bay from Martinaise every day.
What's down the shore?
Urban coastline, rain dripping off Eternite-covered roofs, cinder blocks left over from half-finished construction, a defunct research and development building, once seized by revolutionaries. An old wooden church stands on stilts above the water.
And beyond that?
Coal City, end of all lines.
Your hair is an oily mess, flecked with ash from neighboring coal plants. Smokestacks rise somewhere in the distance. What's in the east?
The great gates of the industrial harbor are locked. A chill runs down your back. You shudder like an animal trying to shake water from its hide. Behind the gates, heaps of supply crates, red and blue metal shipping containers, slick with rain. The Greater Revachol Industrial Harbor is an artificial mountain range. Immense wealth resides within, and immeasurable poverty in its shadow.
And beyond that?
La Drusienne, King Dries passenger harbor. Cruise ships flanked by dock arms. Cranes watching over the mouth of the river distributary.
And what's across from that?
Couronne, the lower middle class. Distributary after distributary cuts the city blocks in half. 7-story buildings trail off into the rain.
What is beyond the Couronne?
A silvery curtain of rain over the houses. The class divide.
What's in the north?
Tower blocks crowd one another. 4.46mm bullets still lodged in their war-torn stone walls. Hallways collapse from the mortar hits of a war that was lost long ago. Clotheslines go to waste in the rain. Radios play.
And closer to here?
A yard. Rain falls onto the roof of a woodshed. Coal leaks into a puddle beneath a dead man's feet. He swings from a tree, bloated. Droplets of rain slip from his cold cheeks.
What's in the south?
A traffic jam. Rain thrumming on the roofs of motor vehicles. Inside, drivers watch water streaming down their windshields. The statue of a king shudders. He too is cold. The canal bridge has been raised.
What's on the other side?
The road ascends. A raised motorway loops above the ghetto. Beneath its concrete columns, a sea of rooftops, woodwork, and tar stretches northward. 4-story buildings as far as the rain can fall. The snows melt in Jamrock.
And what is Jamrock?
Revachol is the capital of the world. Jamrock is the capital of Revachol. Droplets form on your eyelashes. It's home.
Where the hood, where the hood, where... Yeah, okay.
Have a brother in the cut. Where the hood at?
Why am I not there?
To be in Martinez, where no one goes, at the runoff point of a long-forgotten canal, in the whitest part of town, in the shadow of the day the revolution failed.
What am I doing here?
Standing in the rain, looking north, where Jamrock Rock City stretches inland.
Look further.
In the rain-swept distance, above the rooftops of Jamrock, a repurposed silk mill stands perched above the motorway exit. Precinct 41 hunches in the rain. Satellite officer Jean Vichmer rushes down the precinct stairs, umbrella in hand. It's unopened. He doesn't seem pleased about the spring rain. On the bridge, officers Torsen and McLean are standing guard. Torsen wears jeans and a fishnet wife-beater. Satellite officer Vichmer passes by, and the young man remarks to him,
"Where's your homo, homie?"
What?
It's not like that. They're what is called heterosexual life partners. They have a battle-tested relationship. A blood bond, if you will.
Huh? Yeah.
Heterosexual life partners.
Funny apery. Male-centric workplace humor. Have you seen him?
Is there something wrong?
No, nothing. It's just... Judith went to his place and found the Monday mail unopened. I think he's still there. You didn't, drink with him over the weekend, did you?
That would be irresponsible.
With that animal? Never again, man. What is he, still down there? In, south of the interchange? What was it?
In Martinez. He's in Martinez.
Your vision blurs. You wipe your face with your hand. The rain stings your eyes, making you look up and blink. Coalition aerostatics hang like apparitions under the cloud cover. Way up there, where rain forms, rotors flutter silently. Your sight clears.
Motherfucker.
This rain will not let up anytime soon. You should get a raincoat. There's a freight to the east. They sell them there.
Street sign reads, "Fuck the police." Birds go home straight in as a lunch break. Feet of snow melts in this vehicle.
The RCM in Martinez. What can I help you with?
Sounds surprised.
We don't see a lot of police around here, that's all.
I have some questions for you.
Of course. What can I help you with?
We need directions.
Of course. Where to?
Looking for
Oh,
a hip-hop.
that's right there, in the yard.
She's relieved someone has come for it, finally.
Where am I?
What do you mean?
I'm just a bit disoriented. This is Revachol, right?
Yes, sir. District of Martinez. This intersection is called Roundabout North.
He knows where we are. He just wants directions.
What's up in the north?
There's the pier, the Cape Side apartment buildings, some more tenements. Not a lot, really.
The east?
The harbor gates. Some kind of commotion, I think. I don't follow the local politics. A fleet store, too.
What's in the south?
Some shops and a bridge. The canal bridge leads to the coast, but it's broken, I think. Some kind of accident, probably.
What is on the other side of the canal?
Just coast. There's a little fishing village there, and a fish market. But that got closed down ages ago.
Rows of stalls under a broad roof, where silvery fish were heaped on newspapers. Water, water everywhere, pouring from the heavens in the shadow of the old church.
What kind of fish market is this?
I don't know. The abandoned kind? It used to gather every spring, but there's nothing to do there now. Just drug addicts.
What about the west?
It's just water. No, actually, I think they call it the Martinez Inlet. There are some islands in the bay, but they're hard to reach.
That's all.
No problem.
What is this fucked police business?
Excuse me?
She doesn't understand.
She's uncomfortable. Maybe you should drop this line of questioning.
A street sign.
Oh, well, I didn't write it there. I'm just sitting here.
What about the other sign? Pigs go home. Who are these pigs?
I don't know anything about that either. As I said, I didn't write it.
Pig is a widely used term for members of the police. It's not loving.
No need to worry. We are not saying you did.
Okay. Well, I didn't.
Who are you?
Me? I am just a gardener.
And what are you doing?
I am working. I have a greenhouse in the yard there. I've been trying to get some work done.
There's discomfort. She stops mid-sentence.
No.
Well, as you already know, there's a corpse there, hanging from a tree. It smells pretty bad, so I have to take breaks.
Don't worry, miss. We are here to clean it up. You can get to work soon.
Thank you. My head is about to explode from all the salts I've had to inhale.
That's
Of course. I won't hold you back.
Her gloves. You get the feeling that you need them. You have a dead body to deal with after all.
What about your gloves?
Sure, keep them. I have another pair.
She hands you the gloves with no visible annoyance.
Before you stands a motor carriage. The bodywork is covered in blue and white livery, bearing the number 57.
Excuse me.
Vapor emanates from the large engine on the back of the vehicle. It hasn't had time to cool off yet. This must be the infernal machine that tore you from oblivion.
Open the door.
In the cabin, you are welcomed by a set of steering levers, a radio microphone on a hook, a pull-out toolbox under the seat, and the soft glow of the fuel preheater gauge. A metallic drawer slides out from under the seat and clicks into place. The tools inside are neatly organized.
Take what you need, officer. It's going to be a long case. I'm not protective of my tools, like some men are.
He's clearly a little protective of his tools. But what can you do? Work is work.
Take the pry bar.
The pry bar feels nice and cold in your hand, heavier than you'd think. Cold and heavy, like truth. You feel like you're reunited with truth once more. Useful for opening all sorts of doors and lids.
You mean the chain?
The handles are long and sleek. Snap, snap, go the cutters in your hand.
Take the flashlight.
It's robust, weatherproof, and well-made. Police issue, blue. Lets you see things in the dark you would otherwise miss. The pull-out toolbox slides back into its nest. Preheater gauge casts a warm glow on the steering levers and the radio on its hook. The white suede feels luxurious under the touch, and the metal clutch handle so very familiar in your palm. As you tap on the gauge, the indicator pin jerks as if startled. It's in the large orange sector, indicating the engine is warm. Next to the gauge is a red switch labeled heat.
There's no use pressing the heat button. It won't start without the ignition key.
Translation: we're not going anywhere right now. Alternative translation: don't even think you can drive my MC.
What are we looking at?
This is the Cupri's Kinema, my motor carriage. You can use the toolbox and the radio if you'd like.
Motor carriage, motor carriage. Something bad with a motor carriage. A dark lump rises in your throat.
What is this sinking feeling I have with motor carriage?
Nothing, nothing. It's probably nothing. Forget I brought it up. Please proceed with the carefree lollygagging.
Can we turn it on and drive somewhere?
No, I'm afraid not. We have a murder case on our hands, remember?
This must be what woke me up.
Yes, sorry about that. The Cupri's Kinema does have a rather distinctive engine sound.
He says it with very badly concealed pride.
Do all policemen in the RCM have such cool motor carriages?
The Cupri's motorcar does provide most of our patrol vehicles, yes.
In the cabin, you see a set of steering levers, a radio on a hook, a pull-out toolbox, and the soft glow of the fuel preheater gate.
Let's go investigate us a body. Oh, det sent gesehen with B. Spoiled meat and curdled dairy. Human being decomposes.
There are several footprints in the mud, left by work boots. Anywhere from 6 to 12 pairs have walked here. Heavy workers' boots with reinforced toes and hobnails, all over the yard. Isn't this something an industrial worker would wear?
Noted.
What do you think you are? A super detective? You're hungover. These are just dents in the mud. No pattern emerges for the time being. The corpse looks at you with bulging white eyes. The face around them does not look human. It's swollen and ready to burst. His lips are fish-like and his tongue like a ball gag in his mouth. You seem to be holding your breath. A cargo belt twists his neck at an unnatural angle. The body below appears stiff. It's letting out an ungodly rot. The smell seeps in even through your clenched nostrils.
What? It's so bad.
Active decay. It's okay to throw up, officer. No one is judging.
He's about to blow! Cop's gonna blow, Kuno!
The smell is repulsive. It pushes in from your mouth, more instant and more familiar than anything you'd expected. More fever than odor. It fills your mind, flushing you from within.
If anyone's squeamish, look away now.
You feel a great force ringing from your stomach. Your body curls and pushes it out, burst by burst, until a pool of vomit lies under your feet and your throat stings from the stomach acid.
Sorry about that.
It's okay. Happens to everyone. Keep it. The hangover is clearly making this worse for you. You could use some ammonia to clear your head.
Think what else?
If you can handle the headache. Some officers use it to deal with cadaverine odor.
But not you?
I can't handle the headache.
It's more likely he can handle the smell, unlike you.
But where did we get it from?
That young woman, the gardener, mentioned she used salts for the smell. If she doesn't have any, there might be some in the fruit store nearby.
Let's get out of here.
Hello again, officer. How are things?
You still have your sense.
Sure. I'm done with them. Go easy on that stuff. It gave me a terrible headache.
I have to.
There he still is, looking right through you with his white eyes. The body below is entirely dedicated to that corpse smell. Emitting it is all it does now. You crack open the ammonia ampoule and breathe in. The odor of death is still stronger. It's a spell of the mind telling you to run, and your stomach to wring itself empty. With your eyes squinting, you stand in it.
They always do that.
They do after 7 days, yes. We are deep in decomposition here.
Step closer.
The man before you is naked, but for a pair of underpants and enameled boots. His skin is greenish, marbled with decaying veins and blotched by lividity. A fading web of tattoos covers his chest and shoulders. The cargo belt used to fasten him to the branch above appears industrial in strength.
Inspect the boots.
The material appears to be ceramic. Its clean white stands in stark contrast to the decaying flesh above the knee. The man wore thick polymer socks, probably for padding. A fine array of interlocking plates covers them. Delicate and fragile, they feel alien to the world around you, out of place somehow. These are clearly not boots. They're armor, possibly part of a larger set.
These aren't just boots, they're armored boots.
Indeed. Technically speaking, these are sabatons, not boots.
What kind of armor is this?
Ceramic plate. Zirconium dioxide, most likely. This is where the make would be. Under the heel. Fair weather. Fair weather model T500 VE. I'm guessing that's vitreous enamel. This is advanced stuff.
What happened to the rest?
The locals probably scavenged it. It would be odd if he had more on after 7 days. We should keep a lookout for these pieces. The armor could yield information. Maybe he'll know something.
If you wear those pieces, it will help me protect your mortal coil.
Why does my mortal coil need protecting?
Yes, bullets will fly. They always do. And the coil is fleshy and mush and permeable. Cast it in ceramic shell. Resist death.
Maybe he was just wearing these boots and there is no rest of the armor.
No, he must have worn something precious underneath his clothes. They have removed all his clothes to get to it. They did not just strip him for the putrid rags.
Have you seen him?
Someone could have cleaned the yard, but that's a question for the red-haired thing.
I hear you talking shit about the Kuno. Come here and say it to Kuno's face.
Fuck you, kid.
You wanna fuck me, huh? You wanna fuck the Kuno?
Thought they told him to strip before they hung you to demean it.
They usually hang them completely naked for that. La puta madre, the Mazda, the Besmerties and the like. This one still has his underpants.
What? Are you trying to ignore me now, fuckface?
Yes.
Kuno, this boots shit is super boring and the guy's a total Victopaz.
I don't know what that means, but it's probably nothing good.
It is. It's expensive.
And draws a line on the condensation of the ceramic with his index finger.
We've requested similar material for our tactical units for years now. The constabularies deemed it too costly. In that time, we've lost 6 men to semi-automatics.
How much are we talking?
For a full set, about 4 years of wages.
Catching?
By catching, do you mean let's not log them as evidence? Let's steal them?
That is what catching means, yes.
Mm-hmm. It means disciplinary hearing.
How could this man afford such
That's for us to
expensive
find
hardware?
out. My initial report on the area suggests he was a security guard for the harbor company. But that's just hearsay.
Initial?
Just something I scraped together from my station. An area report on Martinez. I'm sure you did the same.
He's not actually sure of that. He's just being tactful.
This looks pretty advanced.
I agree. This equipment is way beyond what a guard can afford.
This feels dangerous. Are you sure? The stench fills your nostrils. As you push downward, an ominous creaking sound comes from above.
Stop! Pig's gonna pull his head off.
Brutal!
This is a bad idea.
You're going to pull his head off.
Do it, Homo!
I'm gonna pull his head off, right?
Yes, that's what I said. You'll compromise the coroner's case if you do. So please, what are you trying to achieve anyway? Why are you hanging on to that boot?
These would go super well for my bell-bottom pants.
You do understand the boots are steeped in cadaverine odor, don't you?
So are my pants.
You have a point there, detective. You have a point. But there's no way you're getting them off. All the organic matter in his body has been flowing down into the boots. They are fused to his feet now. Why do you think the locals haven't scavenged them yet?
You're sure there's a way to peel them off, but first the body needs to be down. And second, it would probably be better if the lieutenant wasn't around.
Alright.
The anticipation makes you crack your fingers. Feels nice. Nice and cracky.
Okay.
Processing will take care of them. With the situation in the morgue, it will yield nothing. But we must pick our fights. Should we continue?
A small bell-like sound fills the air, like tapping on the side of a porcelain cup. Suddenly, your biceps coil up. Your elbow is sharp and cocked for a punch. Your fist connects to the boot with the same ding. The sound does not appear to get louder.
Did you hear that? A click? This is a kinetic redistributor. It spreads the incoming energy horizontally, from plate to plate. When the plates connect, there's a click. That's the sound you heard. See these lines?
Yes.
Faint, organic lines cover the plates where they separate into smaller ones. These plates then divide into smaller plates until there are hundreds of them altogether. Like the scales of some ancient white monster, cracked and pearly. The cadaver slowly twists on the cargo belt, his torso covered in tattoos, and extremities blotched pink and blue.
We will come back in a moment. First, we need to do something.
This trash container is locked. The sliding lid has a padlock that says, "Whirling in rags." There's something in there, not necessarily connected to the case, but still.
Speak to me, garbage. What secrets do you hide?
Maybe you're prioritizing it.
What mysteries lie within?
Trash, food waste from the cafeteria. They lock these containers to keep the derelicts from flocking in. Could be evidence too.
We must open it immediately.
Mm-hmm. We could try using a pry bar, the one you took from my motor carriage, or we could ask for a key from the manager of the Whirling in Rags. He probably has one.
This trash container is locked. The sliding lid has a padlock that says, Whirling in Rags. Force time isn't happening. You've jammed the pry bar under the lid, but it just isn't bending. What is this? Your triceps ache for the metal to bend, but it resists. This calls for a potent curse to help break its resistance. Utter the power words.
Kick the container. Ow.
Unsatisfying. Hurtful. You hear a ringing sound, but not quite hollow. Full of itself. Content. Happy you failed. This snickering trash container is having a grand old time. There's a creaking sound as the pry bar slips under the lid. You hang from it like a moron, huffing and puffing. Clearly the technique is wrong, but nothing else comes to mind.
The quality of metal is not the problem. From what I see, it's sturdy enough.
He's enjoying your little failure. He finds it amusing. He's reveling in the sweaty rage on your face.
Let's ask the manager for the key. This is clearly not working.
Like hell, it's not working.
This trash container is locked. You force open the sealed metal lid with your goddamn bare hands.
Now we're talking.
It is open now. It could not resist your superhuman strength. Don't. Maybe you shouldn't. Maybe you shouldn't. Of course you should. This is your time to shine, Hobocop. Dive into that dumpster for extra content.
Don't you just have a premonition that there's something in there?
There is, but you won't like it. Sweat forms on your brow. Your hand is still on the lid.
Open the lid.
The smell of rotten food rises to greet you. You see soggy cartons, dirty rags, and organic waste.
We're just in time. This hasn't been emptied for over a week.
Look under the box.
You see milk and egg rest with one broken egg in it. Some pasta wrapper. Picking up the soggy packages somehow feels familiar. A box falls into pieces in your hands. Batiste Soleil cereal. There are plastic pasta packages below, and turbo noodles. Nothing of note, however. Among the threadbare kitchen towels, something catches your eye. A pair of denim trousers.
Grab the trousers.
As the legs of the slime-covered jeans begin to unspool from the garbage, a rank corpse smell fills the air.
The victim's clothes? Cadaverine odor is faint. If these belong to the deceased, they were removed when he was still in the early stages of decay. Drop them in here, officer. Guitar marked blue jeans. Pockets empty or empty. He wore them with a belt, too. A white belt. The loops appear stretched, but the belt is missing. That's it. Do you see anything else in there? I have another bag here.
Something slimy catches your eye. A drab, long-sleeved shirt, olive-colored, appears from the food waste, dripping with pus.
Gross.
This is a military-type overgarment. No label or serial number. This is the kind of rib-knit shirt that's worn over light armor to conceal it in an urban scenario. Anything more?
The rest of the rags are just kitchen variety waste. Just garbage.
That's all, I think.
All right. We should go to Gart again and ask if he knows who put the clothes in the trash. It could be as simple as someone from the hostel cleaning the yard. Or that one. I'd advise against confronting that force.
Yeah, we need to ask the kids who put them there.
The fuck's he on about? Kids? You hear that, Kuno? He thinks you're an infant or something.
See?
You think someone from the Whirling might have been involved?
Not really. All we know is the victim's clothes are in the trash, the lid was locked, and his establishment had the key. It's just a small loose thread.
Okay.
The lieutenant nods, then looks back into the trash container.
Search the food
It's
waste.
just organic waste, cold and slimy on your hands. Apple and potato peels, mostly. Unidentified sludge, and the occasional chicken bone thrown in for good measure. But hey, nothing. It's nothing. Nothing more to see here. What's this?
What?
A blue piece of plastic sticks out from the apple peels. It's shiny. Looks like the corner of something.
Pick it out.
They look badly damaged, but you can still make out forms and notes, written in a man's handwriting.
Officer, is that your paperwork?
No, can't be.
Yes, it is. Look. This plastic has the RCM street grid on it. You've even got an autopsy form.
Hooray!
If you don't mind me asking, how did this get in the trash?
Must have been cramping my style.
Officer, this is an official piece of paperwork. It probably contains notes on numerous ongoing investigations, and could even list undercover operatives, informants. I suggest integrating it into your style, for all our sakes.
Alright,
It would also not hurt to start taking notes on the case. Now, tell me what your eagle eyes see. Or are we finished?
Robocop time.
Wow, an Armistice caliber 50 knock cannon, half wrapped in paper tissues. So shiny.
What's a knock cannon?
It's a giant rifle, and it's very expensive. Not as expensive as that fat string of pearls snaking around the rotten banana peels, however. And is that Cordon Electric's preamp with Electra F2 tubes? It is. That catches quite a price. We're talking 12,000, easy. Unless you're into hi-fi yourself.
I'm into hi-fi.
That's too bad, because none of those things are actually in there. There's just food waste and crisp wrappings.
Reveal your secrets.
All you see is a broken mug with a racist depiction of the Yellow Man frolicking in saffron.
An antique?
Only in its social sensibility.
Take a look.
The container sounds a muffled gong.
That's one thing off the list. I think we got it all.
It's the ledger you found in the trash. A pitiful cabbage of white and yellow papers hanging from plastic board, barely held together by a metal clip. This sad display is made complete by the faint smell of urinal cleaner.
Anything else?
There's a piece of toilet paper, or is it cleaning tissue? No, it's toilet paper, desperately sticking to the back of the blue plastic clipboard. It's a metaphor for you.
It's a metaphor for you.
Below the pathetics, terror. Do not look into its blue heart. It's just toilet paper sticking to the back of the plastic clipboard. You can take it off if you want.
Maybe it's kitchen tissue.
If you want it to be kitchen tissue, it can be kitchen tissue.
Yes.
It's not, though. It's toilet paper.
It's gonna...
Still wet, the toilet paper, I mean kitchen tissue, sorry, peels off the plastic easily. All you have to do is shake it off your finger, and voila, the ledger now looks marginally better.
I am glad I'm wearing these gloves.
An aluminium block runs the width of the board, biting down on the paperwork. Its crocodile teeth are the only thing keeping the papers together. A regular pencil, the tip worn down to nothing, has been attached to the clip.
Run your finger across aluminium.
The surface is interrupted by a silvery sticker. It's rectangular, sparkling with iridescence. You don't know how you didn't notice it before.
Is this one of those holograms you mentioned?
What? Yes, halogen watermark used for adding information to RCM property.
What kind of information?
It depends. Aside from an anti-counterfeiting stamp, Mine has my station number and address. The information varies by date of issue.
How many years you've been on the force, he's thinking. It'll have that.
How can I read it?
Any capable light with the right wavelength will do.
Like...
All RCM vehicles have headlights designed to reveal halogen watermarks. Mine too.
How useful.
This means you can read the watermarks if you just turn the lights on.
That's all.
Okay.
While a bunch of sodden papers sag from the clipboard in your hand, it's a sorry sight. They're not exactly white. They're yellowed in patches by sunlight and alcohol, and covered in dense blue handwriting. Ink escapes into watercolor patterns, reaching its tendrils across entire pages. The paper itself is checkered, with faint red lines, forming short paragraphs. Once in a while, there's a red stamp that exclaims, "Case files commit to paper." The case files themselves are plenty. You count more than 100 sodden, crumpled up, earmarked pages falling apart in your hands. They appear to be sufficiently organized and extremely dense, if mostly illegible.
What's in there?
Work, strife, poverty, the Jamrock Quarter. These are handwritten logs of investigations dating back to January 51, this year. The exact number is hard to estimate, due to missing pages and an odd naming convention. But there are at least 20, maybe 30 cases, undertaken, not completed, mind you. It's the middle of March. You have attempted 2 cases a week on average.
Is 2 cases a week good?
Huh? 2 complex cases to undertake is a lot, yes. You really have to push yourself. I would not suggest it, lest you start making mistakes.
It appears to have been my average.
2? That's a lot. I didn't mean to say you are making mistakes, by the way. That was presumptuous of me.
A nice brisk pace.
I prefer a normal caseload. It's a matter of method.
Like a fan of gills, the checkered papers dry in your hand. The handwriting is extremely dense, if mostly illegible.
Naming convention.
Yes, it appears you employ a, shall we say, robust yet literary system. Each investigation has its case number written on the margins. Yet, still more tellingly, most are accompanied by a name.
And they're in capital letters.
Yes, all caps. One is called The Next World Mural. Another, The Square Bullet Hole Murders. Another yet, The Unsolvable Case. Others appear more light-hearted. The guys on a couch in an unexpected location, and the murder at the hookah parlor. Even the rare article-free collapsing tenement. Murder features prominently throughout. You like this grimy murdering, don't you? It's going to take an effort to piece these case files together, but it can be done. Once you're done inspecting them up close.
You mean the alphanumeric? Officer, precinct, time of arrival at the scene?
No, something a bit more unique.
Oh, you mean the titular? Yes, well, so do I. In our defense, almost everyone in the RCM does.
But why?
It's a holdover from the early days of the RCM, right after the revolution, when the organization had little idea how to do things. It persists in an unofficial capacity. Officers use these titles to refer to their work among themselves.
I seem to have named the case the Square Bullet Hole Murders.
Again, in your defense, I seem to have named one the man with the hole in his head. That was a real person. His death was real. Still, I named it that, to amuse myself. I pray his loved ones never find out.
What happened to him?
Rail spiked through the head. He died. It was a workplace accident.
Oof. Do I have any extra pages?
There is, for precisely one more. 15 pages near the end remain untouched by the damage. The checkered grid forms a structure of passages, breaking the case into subtasks to accomplish.
Commit to paper.
The tasks you've completed flow out of the pen in a brash freehand similar to the rest of the letters. The wording comes easily. It's almost robotically simple. A language developed for mental rigor and simplicity. Inspect the victim's body. Interview the cafeteria manager. A satisfying slash sounds across the paper. You're done, it seems to say. And you, and you. Things to be done, and things already done. The composition of reality. This is an extremely useful tool for a detective of the citizens' militia. Now all that remains is to name the case.
Have you named the case?
No, actually. Any ideas?
The hanged man, Furies are at home in the mirror, the setting sun, shit in a stick. The Furies are at home in the mirror.
Furies? Yes, well, I don't know. I have to be honest, I'm not experiencing the internal strife that it refers to. And also, could you make it less poetic somehow? Just a normal case name, you know? Think, what would that be? A good normal name.
Shoot on a stick.
Yes. I have to tell you, officer, I don't appreciate ironic titles. Other officers will have to use this as reference. If it's idiot or cockfinger, they're not going to get it. They're going to think an idiot and a cockfinger were on this case. So, do you have something less funny?
Fun is outlawed with this guy. What a knock!
A setting sun.
Okay. It's a good name, but it has one problem. This case has nothing to do with the setting sun. At all. It has nothing to do with that, so...
You are so worried.
Something more concrete, perhaps? Do you have something concrete? Mundane, usual?
Usual is boring. We don't do that.
Great. That's great. That's actually what I was thinking too. The Hanged Man. Good, strong name. We have a very good name for the case now. I'm going to start calling it the Hanged Man. It's good we sorted this out.
I'm done inspecting.
You don't exactly close them, so much as distance yourself from the smelly papers. They're a little further from your nose now. In the back, you see thin, translucent copier paper. Some neon yellow, some bright red, all covered in boxes, like marching armies. These look like official forms, waiting to be filled out. Then rip them from the binder and hand them out, according to type of form.
What types are there?
3. The topmost are misconduct fines, the middle ones are station calls, and the bottommost are field autopsy forms. Each is easy enough to make sense of. A monetary penalization ranging from 20 to 250 real. Severe cases allow for 1,000 real, but that requires special paperwork. The details of issuing these fines are spread out over the rest of the fields.
Station call.
These are quite sinister in turn. They give a date and time for the person to appear at the specified precinct police station. Below the call are the criminal charges you risk by not appearing.
Field autopsy.
A dozen pages of thin copy paper, bright red in color. You see the parameters of a deceased human form waiting to be filled in. Age, sex, condition of internal organs, color of the irises, predation marks, condition of sexual organs.
Enough.
Yes, all that remains now is to fill those forms and hand them to people. Fines for wrongdoers, interview requests for bad guys, and field autopsies to dead guys. The rest of the stinking cellulose is much worse for wear. Being sandwiched between the board and the rest of the paperwork must have spared the fragile copier paper. The acidic stench of rotting food is rubbed off on the cellulose. It now forms the base of the experience. This base surrounded by a faint air of spoiled meat, the stuff of death itself, and then sprinkled liberally with the citrus zest of toilet cleaner. It's made of dark blue plastic, hard enough to beat someone to submission with. The edges are rounded, however. The U4 size board feels thick and heavy in your hand. Light shimmers on its wet surface.
Excuse me.
On the back, you see the embossed letters, RCM.
What did you say the color was?
Blue. The blue heart. Don't look into it. Something rattles inside, ever so lightly. Is there a hidden compartment? The plastic shimmers like lapis lazuli, but it is not see-through. You cannot see to its center.
How does it open?
With your hands. You 4-sized pages hang from the clip screwed to the top of the board.
That's enough. What is it?
It's the ledger you found in the trash. A cabbage of papers hanging is not what you end up doing. You squeeze the plastic to slide it open, but nothing happens. Then you bend it some, then crack it. The goddamn thing is stuck. A hot flash of rage comes over you. For a moment there, before it recedes, you feel as though you might just squeeze a tear of anger out of your duct. Makes you wonder, why? It's unjust, that's why. You can't even get to that thing anymore. The ledger quivers in your hand. As it shakes, the pages rustle.
Let's see, level up.
There are several footprints in the mud, left by maybe more than 12. No, 8 pairs of boots have shuffled back and forth in the mud.
One at a time.
1. Standard work boot, steel reinforced toes, number 46. 2. Standard work boot, steel reinforced toes, number 44. 3. Hobnailed work boot, steel reinforced toes, number 43. 4. Standard work boot, number 45 or 46.
Which is it?
You don't know. It's a miracle you can tell the prints apart as it is. The cold must have preserved them.
More.
5. Another standard work boot, steel reinforced toes, number 44. 6. An aberration, light as air, even pace, same make of boot, but number 41.
Male or female?
Impossible to tell. Could also have been an adolescent. The gait is undeveloped.
I'm pretty good at this, ain't I?
You're not bad. It's as if the whole world darkens. Everything else has a thin film of unimportance on it, and the tracks burn in the middle of it, in a strange, beautiful way. 7. The glowing outline of a standard work boot, number 46. But the imprints are twice as deep as the others. The weight exceeds 200 kilograms. 8. And yet another standard work boot, number 44. There's an aberration in the pattern of the sole, however. The right sole is smoother, more worn.
How many? I was pretty off then. I counted 20.
Back and forth,
I never got the hang of it. Hyperopia. Do you see anything out of the ordinary?
Right step, number 41 shoe.
A woman? Or a kid?
Don't think there's a way to be
Understood.
sure.
Anything else?
Heavy one, 200 kilograms.
200? Could it be the combined weight of 2 people, one carrying the other who's tied up? Let's say a heavily built worker, carrying a similarly built, soon-to-be-dead man.
Definitely me.
He might be right. 200 kilograms of living weight is unlikely.
Could have been an extremely obese person.
I can't see any prints fitting the armor boots the victim was wearing, can you? Someone had to carry him. Are any of the other prints deep enough?
No.
An obese person is becoming less likely.
One of them was carrying it.
Possibly, yes.
One sole is smoother than the other. An aberration.
Interesting. Let's name it the odd sole.
Any ideas?
Someone operating a workbench with a pedal? Like a joiner at the harbor. Or maybe a drummer?
He regrets it the moment he says it.
I don't know why I said that. We are not looking for a drummer. We are looking for a group of dock workers. Perhaps it could be a driver. A driver would wear out their right shoe before the left. The accelerator is on the right.
Not a bad idea.
He doesn't seem to hear you, looking south toward the traffic jam instead. The machines are silent. The engines are all turned off.
We should keep our eyes open around the traffic jam. See whether anyone strikes out as a potential suspect. Seems prudent, no?
Yes.
A week, maybe? 7 days would fit the time frame provided to us by the caller, who reported the hanging.
It is not impossible.
How do you know?
I pulled last week's forecast for coastal Revachol. 7 days below freezing. The day before, the day of his hanging, was the last warm day.
Correct again. Sub-zero temperatures would preserve the tracks in a good state. The commotion here could have taken place a week ago.
What do you think happened?
What do I think? A mob of people brought something heavy to the tree. One of them was carrying the victim. They shuffled around, especially under the tree. Then, after hoisting him up, they stood in a semicircle facing his direction. At first glance, this appears to be a lynching.
Indeed. They all stood in a row here and looked at the tree.
You've been through all of it.
The man before you is naked, but for a pair of underpants and white boots. His skin is marbled with decaying veins and blotched by lividity. On his chest, a fading web of tattoos. The cargo belt used to hang him from the tree looks reinforced.
Inspect the belt.
The hangman's knot is pulled tight by the weight of the corpse below. Yellow, hard-edged polyester cuts into his neck. Above, a sliding buckle ties the belt to the branch. Oh my, there's something on the belt. A familiar word that speaks to the thirst within you.
What word?
Vermilion, in yellow letters, along the length of the twisting cargo belt. Only a deep longing for vermilion golden spirits lets you decipher the fading logo of the local brewery.
This is a bad time for a drink, right?
Extremely.
And focus.
Industrial strength. The kind used for tying cargo to lorries.
Like in a harbor?
Yes, it looks like they use whatever was on hand, paying no attention to not incriminating themselves.
We're assuming dock workers from the harbor did
The
this.
brief suggested as much, politically motivated by the ongoing strike. Did you not get a briefing?
Yes, of course.
Then you should ask me the first moment we get.
Sure wanted him to stay there.
It's not merely polyester, it's steel reinforced. See these lines? This is where the wires run. I see rabbits for more than 20 strands. This makes getting him down much more problematic than I had assumed.
How'd they get him up?
A noose is one of those things that's easier to use one way around.
Did they climb up using one?
That ladder can't carry a grown man. I didn't see any splintering either, did you? I think they lassoed the branch, then pulled on the belt to close the buckle.
The cadaver hangs from the cargo belt, limbs limp and torso covered in tattoos. An intricate web of blue lines stretches across the torso, from the right shoulder to the solar plexus. Each time they intersect, a small white star is formed in their crossing. Hundreds of fading asterisks riddle his skin. Their concentration is highest around his heart. His corpse is marked by stars.
What will mine be marked by aside from hollow cat marks?
Alcohol and heartbreak. Your fist clenches suddenly.
And be riddled with disco.
Decay is creeping on the tattoo. Already, most of the canvas that's holding it has darkened. Now, it disintegrates slowly, letting out a stink.
Is this a map of the night sky?
A map of the stars. I do see some similarity to astronomical charts. Great century Messinian, maybe. But this seems more particular. Customized somehow.
As if someone left out most of the night sky, filtering it through personal choice. The principle of this filter remains unknown to you. The thought dissipates, and you feel as though you were only half right.
So am I.
He takes a thin piece of milled aluminium from his coat pocket and pulls it open. Sounds like a sword being unsheathed. A small lens appears. Some sort of camera.
Shit, Kuno! What the fuck is that?
An instant color camera.
Produces two metal capped ampules and clicks them into place on the side of the apparatus. A thin slot shines there.
I have only 2 ampoules, so nobody move. I don't want to waste one.
Points the camera at the corpse, peering into it. The lens needs adjusting then.
A sound, a shrill flash, followed by the breaking of a small ampoule of glass. You see streams of color pour onto the thick, glossy piece of paper, rolling out.
In case we need it.
The lieutenant says and shakes the paper, letting it dry in the cold wind. On it, a color-perfect copy of the dead man's tattooed chest. Machine?
Yes. It is pretty cool, isn't it?
He slides the camera closed and tucks it away in his belt. What do we need this photo for?
It contains insight to the victim's person. By his build, I'd say this was a man of physical violence. The story he wanted his body to tell was important to him. It is his letter. To us. Someone should decipher it. We'll need to show it around.
Can I have it? I should look at it later without the corpse.
Sure. Just don't lose it.
He hands you a piece of rolled up photo paper. It's no larger than a pack of cigarettes.
The glossy-eyed corpse looks by, his mouth mute and his skin as colorful as the chemical rainbow on the photo paper, teeming with opportunistic organisms.
Look him in the eye.
His eyes are milky white and blind to the world, protruding comically from their sockets. There is no one home, just subaquatic terrors there. Dark brown hair grows on his head. His face is ready to explode from the organic processes inside. The death's head grin has passed. What remains is an unrecognizable mess. Underneath the curdled meat there is an expression, not carried on his features, but below, inside, an expression of pleasure. This man was experiencing joy at the moment of his death.
Who are you, dead man?
I'm gone.
Where have you gone?
Into the wild pale yonder.
Where is that?
In the past. Way out west.
Can't get the damn compartment in my ledger room.
The Blue Heart. Oh, that's good shit. Just press down and fuck it open like you always do. Fuck it hard, Copopo the Clown.
He means force. It'll work.
I can see you're gone, but who are you?
I'm a joke. Look at me.
There's nothing funny about you.
There is nothing funny about jokes either.
Who were you when you were alive?
A killer. A motherfucker. And a killer.
Takes one to know one.
I have another question for you.
Go ahead, Kobo.
What is happening?
What do you mean?
I'm talking to you.
It's the power of your imagination.
Imagination.
Yeah, man! Don't be crazy! Inanimate objects and dead people can't really talk to you. Your wild imagination is doing this. Ask some more of those questions you love so much.
He loves those.
Why do I love questions so much?
Because you're a copperoony. Look at all of them go. Do you want more questions?
Give me a comical amount.
Coming right up, Copperoony Rooney. This is getting upbeat now.
Is my name Rooney?
Fuck no. You're no Rooney.
Bernie is obviously not who I am.
Between you and me, your name is probably Harry.
I feel like I've been getting a lot of Harry lately.
You might be onto something there.
Why do I feel like I've forgotten something terrible?
Because you have.
Who killed you?
Love did me in, brother Copo. It was love all along.
Can you ask me a question?
Sure, Lobo. I can ask you a question. Why are you doing this?
Doing what?
Looking at my face. Motionless. Looking into my eyes. Standing here. Why are you investigating my murder?
Maybe this will lead to something. Something indescribable, unforeseen, miraculous.
Something is on its way. Something hidden. It's coming. A miracle from the northwest, and it's almost here. You can feel it in the air, on your hands. The cold spring air smoothing them over.
Tonight. Copyright. Wait, that's not it. I hate you, you stinking your boring.
Do I remind you of someone?
A deep sea creature?
No, not quite. Be fair now.
That one?
You sure wrinkled out of that one, Coppolini.
Why were you feeling pleasure when you died?
Maybe I was getting my rocks off.
How do you speak like that? What dialect is that anyway?
It's a mishmash, Copperbolo. You think I'm Messinian, don't you? For you, this is how people from Messina speak like.
Are you from Messina?
No. My hair is too light a shade of brown. My eyebrows, too. Trust your inner racist.
What are you, racist now, too?
You think I am? You think I was a racist because this lump looks like military and has tattoos? That's called profiling. Do I look like an erotic auto-asphyxiation type to you?
Maybe?
Captain Copodromo, I fear we are drifting away, fixating on sexuality again. Let's go with a simpler question.
Enough.
Come back later, Copo. Amuse yourself with my frank manners and my memento mori features. If possible. Also, see me in your dreams.
As you narrow your eyes, the monster before you blurs into a violent mess of green and pink. Only the lower extremities are pink with a dash of blue. His fatted hands, thighs, and his neck, just above the noose. The rest of the corpse appears dark green in the cold spring air.
Why am I squinting?
How should I know why you are squinting, officer?
You mix weird colors.
Oh. You are trying to assess lividity.
The monster comes back into focus, an explosion of color, coursing with dark marbled veins. His stomach appears pregnant with something. Black liquid streams down his thigh and onto his boot.
So, what do you think?
I think he's dead.
I agree. Totally dead. Dabadoob-doob dead.
Something's coming out.
A pool of blood and feces has eaten into the frozen mud below the man's feet. Purge liquid is dripping into it, drop by drop.
The victim appears to have contained no more than half a kilogram of digestion at the time of death.
The fuck he's saying?
Talking about shit.
Maybe you went to the toilet sometime.
Maybe.
He's being up.
I do. Most of them are post-mortem. Maybe even all of them. The delinquents have made our jobs harder with their little sport.
Stop talking in riddles, coin slot.
He means you fucked him up good, Kuno. Fucked him up brutal
What do you...
I think he was upright immediately after death. Blood has gathered in his hands and feet, and his neck. The noose acted like a tourniquet, keeping the blood in his head. The hypostasis here is in tune with the hanging. That's what I think.
Could be still moved after death?
There's always a chance. We should check for ligament marks on his neck to see if they're in tune with the belt. We'll have to get him down first.
But there is no breath to catch. Only the cadaver filling the air and your nostrils. He slowly rotates before you, decomposing.
So how do we know?
Are you sure we finished the preliminary examination of the cadaver? We might miss some of these things once he's done.
The cadaver slowly twists on the cargo belt, his torso covered in tattoos, and extremities blotched pink and blue.
I need to know something.
Of course. You have questions, don't you? The power of your imagination is at your service.
Apparently I don't.
Come back later, Coppo. Amuse yourself with my frank manners and my...
The steel-reinforced belt presents a unique challenge. I brought chain cutters, but I don't see a good angle of approach to the belt. The cadaver is a good 1.2 meters up. Neither one of us can reach the belt without assistance. And even if we do, there's the question of cutting it. Someone else? You mean like the police?
I think someone who's below.
Someone like a paid garbage man? Or a cleaning crew? I have bad news for you. That is a detective. I know it's hard, but I assure you, the others won't come to help us. And we have a growing sanitary concern here. We need to get him down, fast.
Who gets on the
Climb
branch?
up there and... saw the branch?
Yeah, seems dangerous.
There has to be a less risky way, with less falling down of trees.
Maybe we could shoot him
Yeah!
now.
Bang bang time, pig! Shoot his head off!
How?
Shoot the belt.
It absolutely will not, officer. That's not how physics work. It will maybe cut one thread loose.
Yeah, now we're talking. Entertain a Kuno with some shit.
They'll miss! The pigs will miss Kuno!
I'll blow his head off.
Take it! Take the shot!
Do it.
Yeah, take the shot. Kuno wants some of that shit.
Silence. With his elbow sharp, the lieutenant unzips his jacket and produces a lightweight firearm. He drops a paper cartridge in the barrel, separates the scouring stick, and gives the cartridge 5 tucks. He then steps back and assumes the fellow's desk position, taking aim. The corner of his eye twitches. His finger is on the trigger.
He's gonna fucking miss!
The kid's voice is drowned in a shrill blast that echoes off the walls of the surrounding tenements. A cloud of smoke slowly parts in the air as the lieutenant steps back and says to himself,
God damn it.
He feels bad about it. About his eyes mostly. Just having bad eyesight. Probably from a young age. Whatever you do, do not console him.
Fucking idiot! Mookabat asshole!
Kuno could have hit it easy, but then Kuno's not fucking handicapped, is he?
No, we are lucky as it is. We didn't break anything, and the victim remains uncompromised. Any more mistakes could put us in an unfortunate position with the locals. We have eyes on us. I didn't do us any favors with that. I have to say, it's beginning to look unlikely we can get him down without assistance. It's bad as it is, us shooting firearms like punks here. Go ahead, I'm not stopping you. Just don't hit the victim.
They only have one gun!
Oops.
This is the sorriest pair of pigs Kuno's ever seen.
Officer, why do we only have one gun?
Someone's still...
Extremely unfortunate. You need to contact your station about it as soon as possible. Try not to lose this one, please.
We're not off to a good start. This missing gun business is making your hand tremble.
Take it, you fucking banana pointer! Take it and shoot yourself in the mouth!
The cold piece of bakelite and gunmetal is surprisingly light. Your fingers fit right through the guard, instinctively resting on the trigger.
The fuck are you waiting for, Kuno? Tell him to to shoot himself in the mouth?
Kuno is silent. Aggression gathers in the air. The trigger feels delicate and ready to break under your finger. The buckle comes into focus in your sights. You stand with your feet planted firmly in the ground, and
Why don't you just shoot yourself in your mouth? At least you won't.
your field of view narrows. The branch slowly moves, becoming entirely two-dimensional. The metal buckle glimmers, catching the noon light as the corpse slowly rotates.
Look, he's crying. You gonna cry now, fucking faggoty? Or what? You gonna fuck me? You wanna fuck me, pig? Is that what this is about?
Yes!
The buckle explodes into tiny pieces, coming loose with a whir. With your hand numb from the recoil, you look at the body slump down. For a moment, the man appears to kneel in front of you, looking straight at you, helpless, trapped within itself.
Who killed you?
Communism.
It takes a millisecond for the association to flash within your cortex. You have no idea where it's coming from. Only that it's right. Then the rigor in his muscles gives up, and he smashes sideways into the spring mud, letting out a horrid stench.
Who's laughing now?
Fuck you, Kurpale!
You've been policed.
Ace is high.
The lieutenant takes a little hop to perform the customary salutation. Your palm hurts from the slap. It's precise and down to the point.
I knew these guys were
We will perform a field autopsy and determine the cause of death. But before... Excuse me. It looks like I feel like taking a break from the stench. I'm sorry to interrupt the jubilations here. Just a little breather before we do the autopsy.
Field autopsy?
Yes. The 4 phases of a murder scene. 1. Investigation of the scene. I'm satisfied with that part. The trash container, the prints, we've been thorough enough. 2. Initial examination of the victim. We were pretty good in our efforts, and the autopsy will provide another chance. 3. Field autopsy. This will not be pleasant or easy, and it will have to be performed on the scene.
The fuck are they on about?
Cops are gonna cut his shit up next.
4 and final, transport of the coroner's case to the district morgue. I'll do that. God, it stinks.
Don't we have a doctor for this?
No, you and I are detectives. The honorary rank of detective signifies our ability to handle the entire incident chain. From crime scene to autopsy to cleanup, we do it all.
Yeah, I feel like it would.
Your station would not have assigned you the case otherwise. This case is important.
Right.
In the meantime, we should try to interview Evrard Claire, the leader of the Union. Harbor property was clearly used in the hanging. The harbor just east of here. Getting in might prove a challenge, though. Or we could ask around for the representative of the logistics company. My initial information says the Wild Pines have sent some sort of strike negotiator to wrangle control back from Evrard.
You could ask the gardener for directions.
Is this a famous list of initial
Yes.
interviews?
And those were the interviewees.
The rotting man lies on his side with his eyes looking straight through you. The belt is still around his neck. His body is supine and open to intrusion by autopsy. The lieutenant adjusts his glasses and takes a deep breath.
What exactly is a field autopsy?
Come on, officer. You know what a field autopsy is. You've done 100 of them.
That's good in there.
There truly is a time for everything, even for yellow gardening gloves. However, they are lacking hygienically. I suggest you get in there in limited capacity.
Okay.
I'll ask you when I need you to. For the most part, maybe I should handle the contact and you take notes?
Yes.
That's right.
You knew it because you inspected your ledger. The lieutenant is relieved you know the protocol.
Tell me something, dead man.
Shoot, Looney Rooney!
What was it that killed you then, love or communism?
Huh?
You said love killed you, but when you fell down you said it was communism.
You're misquoting me, Rooney. I said communism killed me. Love did me in.
Right.
Come back later, Coppo.
The dead man stares in silence as you crack open the ledger. The bright red paper is covered in boxes and lists, describing the condition of his skin and organs in 3 parts. Above those, an 11-field info form needs filling out first. It begins with...
Begin what? Assistant.
That's you.
Following the first question, I already don't know the answer.
Not an energetic start to an autopsy, I agree.
Pig's messed up. Kuno feels pity.
Just leave it empty, officer.
Leave it empty.
The corpse lies there, indifferent to your retrograde amnesia. The next box says...
Coroner's case
KK57-0803.0815.
Right there.
Next. NA. Next. NA. Roughly 50.
Right, roughly.
The corpse looks ageless, like meat on a hook, teeming with opportunistic microorganisms, letting out a foul-smelling diamine compound. Your eyes turn watery.
Race.
Mondial.
The pudgy mess of curdled meat looks neither mondial nor anything other.
Sex.
Fucky, fucky!
Male.
Pigs can have sex.
Naively, the lieutenant does not double-check your notes.
El bigo mistako, Lieutenant!
We're still going with March 4th. 51. What else? 9. Body identified by is non-applicable. 10. Case number is the same as the coroner's case.
KK57 0503 0815 listens, motionless, with the cargo belt still around his neck. Only 1 box remains.
Evidence of
None. At least not after the initial examination.
What exactly is true?
Interfering with the body's position or wounds post-mortem.
How did you not know that? Aren't you a cop? You're leaving a weak impression here. Say something sure-handed.
Oh sure, then the footprints look like he was
They'd
carried
have to have incapacitated and carried him over. This man was more than a match for untrained dog walkers.
Placed his hand on the dead man's chest as if in recovery.
We should start the post-mortem.
The corpse cannot feel Kim's hand on his chest. It no longer meaningfully interacts with its surroundings. A thicket of boxes and lists on red copier paper tries to answer why.
External examinations.
Clothes. The deceased wears armored boots and white briefs. The make of the briefs is Babrodine, I think. Let's see.
Turns the body onto its side to check the middle.
See, it's happening.
Babrodine, yes. Inexpensive. Size M. Color white.
The disappointment is palpable. The red-haired thing was expecting something more lurid.
Right.
The boots are ceramic, vitreous enamel. They are fused to his skin from blood flowing downward post-mortem. Removal of the boots is left for processing.
It would be clever of you to omit the boots altogether, sire. If you are to keep them for yourself, as you ought to, you have deserved them more than anyone else.
When am I gonna get
Patience. After the autopsy, before the body is taken away, there will be a window of opportunity. After the lieutenant has gone to sleep. I hope this has helped you, my liege.
Tattoos. The upper torso is covered in a single, continuous tattoo, resembling a map of the night sky. It reaches from the right shoulder to the heart. The ink is blue and white. The assistant has a color photograph of the markings, to be added to the case files as document A1. The photo is taken on the scene, using a Trigat Mini. The deceased has a cargo lashing belt around his neck, tied with a hangman's knot. Color yellow. Length 3 meters. There is a buckle on the other end. Well nourished, athletically built, measuring 1.8 meters. Generally consistent with age, about 50. Preservation is good. Ambient temperature below freezing.
Noted.
Body hair is light brown. Distribution is consistent with age. The deceased had male pattern baldness. Hair is combed back, short.
The hair under your latex fingers feels cold to touch, wet.
Lividity is consistent with hanging. The head is congested. Contusions are present on the head, chest, and thighs. Consistent with stones thrown post-mortem. Low velocity.
Fucking low velocity? You think Kuno doesn't know what you're talking about? Velocity was fucking max. Talking shit about Kuno's velocity.
In addition, there are bite marks on the face, scalp, and chest. Consistent with predation. Ligature mark.
Lieutenant produces a small folding knife, with the other hand pulling on the belt and starts cutting into the polyester. The stench is horrid. After a while, it's obvious the material cannot be cut.
The steel wiring. There's too much of it. We need to remove the belt so we can get to the ligature mark.
You got just the right tool for that. The chain cutters.
Oh yeah, I'm prepared.
The hanged man lets out a joyous little bubble of rot from his nose.
Good thing we got these.
Always good to think ahead. Now...
He points to the rope squeezing the dead man's neck.
We need to cut the belt to see the ligature mark below. Carefully, with as much precision as you can.
See? My pig is gonna fuck his head off.
No, he ain't. Your pig's a boring fuck.
The belt is equally tight around the whole circumference of his neck, swelling over the edges like white bread rising from the east.
Am I Kuno's pig?
You are? This pig is Kuno's.
You jam the cutters right under the knot. That seems like a smart idea. Yeah, somewhere there. Already they're buried deep in the man's flesh. Then you rotate them to get a better hold. Then... a really, really bad smell is coming from there now. And some kind of cracking sound. The lieutenant looks by, somewhat worried as you summon power words to your aid.
Yeah, fuck him! Fuck that faggoty! Corpse fucking time!
Told you my pig was hardcore.
I should have a go first. I think I have a strategy.
Yeah.
He sinks the cutters into the knot, preparing to perform the cuts, with his elbow to his knee for precision. Yes, that's much better form than you had. Snap. The knot is slashed. Another cut and the belt falls apart like a flower bouquet, revealing the dead man's neck and the dark red ligature mark around it.
Here.
He hands the chain cutters back, then kneels closer to the body, running his finger along the dark red groove until it comes to a gap.
The rope rises to a point, leaving a gap in the ligature mark. The suspension point is in the back of the neck, on the nape.
As it ought to. This is where its grip on the curdled meat is gentlest, pulling up.
Hemorrhaging is observed on the skin, above and below the ligature mark. The mark is well pronounced, consistent with a drop from 1 or 1.5 meters.
Write it down.
Chest is intact, normal contour. Abdomen is protuberant. Pelvis intact. Genitalia...
He pulls out the man's underpants.
No! Let's get up and see!
I fucking knew it!
This is clearly what they've been waiting for, ever since the autopsy began. The lieutenant is trying to make it as boring as possible.
Genitalia is male and unremarkable. No evidence of injury. Ah yes, your hunch before. We can have a semen analysis requested from processing, if that's what you meant. Just write down that we request an analysis.
The corpse with his pants down does not have an opinion on the subject. All he has is genitals and a deathly odor. The dead man's penis is average-sized, congested from the downward collection of blood. The testicles are uneven in length, hanging underneath. The genitalia is greenish. Marbling is present around the crotch.
Just remember, someone was paid to read this.
You should touch it.
No, I shouldn't.
Back is symmetrical and intact. Upper and lower extremities are intact, but asymmetrical. There are combat injuries on the right hand, thigh, and hip.
Bullets have bitten little pieces out of him. It must have been excruciating, especially the hip. Before you is a temple of pain that knew little tenderness in life.
In addition, I see smaller, residual scars, too numerous to count, covering about 30% of his skin.
It's his body of a mercenary.
We have a real museum here. Of battles, wars. Last item, hands.
He takes the man's right hand, inspects it, and moves on to the other.
His flesh is cold, icy.
Pleased to meet you. Where are you from? And what's your name?
My name...
I'm only fucking with you. I know where you're from.
No,
from Cappadocia. And your name is Il Kobo. What can I do for you, Il Kobo di Cappadocia?
Pleasure's all mine. Are you a temple of pain and a stranger to tenderness?
You get me, Kobo. I feel like you were once for tenderness and kisses yourself. But then shit went south. And now, you're ahead of even me on the pain front. We should do this more often. Be close like this. I mean...
Hands are clean. No sign of injury from struggling.
Are they expecting any?
I was. Maybe I'm just not seeing them. Honestly, this stench is making it hard for me to think at the moment. Ooh. That's all for the external. Well done. What next?
Internal?
Central nervous system. I have nothing. Do you have anything on this man's central nervous system?
You don't even have a joke.
Musculoskeletal. Purge fluid is coming from the mouth. Not injury related. Eyes and tongue protuberant. Hyoid bone. Let's see.
With his eyes almost closed, the lieutenant puts his hand on the dead man's throat and begins to massage it, gently. A rotting smell erupts from the mouth. Purge fluid runs down his lips, black and viscous.
Yeah, jack that fucker off!
Get a hobby, kid.
The hyoid bone is fractured. The rest of the musculoskeletal system is intact. Unremarkable. Respiratory system.
Back hunched as if impaired begins to pry open the dead man's jaws. He stops to exert more force. Both hands are used.
Oral cavity shows no lesions. The victim has received dental implants, possibly after a combat wound. Mouth swollen. Hemorrhaging present in mucosa of the lips and mouth.
No scream, no sigh of relief rises from the darkness inside. It's humid there. Sickly sweet air, unlike anything living. You feel like you're about to throw up again, straight in that mouth of his. No, you don't. You can keep it in. You can keep anything in. You manage to suppress the contractions trying to enter your stomach. All it takes is concentration. Through it, you see nothing but darkness. More meat and darkness. There are ancient mysteries down there, Kobo. Ask me later.
Hemorrhaging present in mucus. Hepatobiliary. NA.
We have nothing.
Are you a hepatobiliary expert?
Nope.
Neither am I.
Okay.
Same for toxicology and serology, and cardiovascular. The body exhibits heavy lividity. Blood has gathered in the hands, feet, and neck. Hypostasis is visually consistent with the hanging. Gastrointestinal.
He looks around the ground full of feces.
Digested semi-solid food in stomach. Voila.
Voila.
What's next on the list?
Description of injuries.
Let's see. We have bite marks, contusions on the head and chest, and a ligature mark encircling the neck. You'll need 3 fields. Leave a 4th one too.
What about injuries we inflicted?
So we inflicted them?
This is a team.
You mean the incision on the thorax from a chain cutter? That was not a team effort, and I wouldn't mention it. Muddies the water.
Waters are muddy.
See? These pigs are fucking corrupt.
Why don't you fuck him if you love him so much?
Now, injuries.
Bite marks.
Head, chest, and scalp bite mark injuries. Predation by birds has caused damage to the body. Odontologist does not need to be consulted. And your opinion, officer?
Non-fatal.
Agreed. Next injury?
2
So, the scalp bleeds from a post-mortem head injury, a stone. The injury does not have the rim of an early inflammatory response. The perpetrator on the scene has confessed to causing it post-mortem.
At maximum velocity, fucko!
Has confessed to causing it at maximum velocity.
Coagulated blood sticks to his scalp and chest, where the countless stones have hit the dead man. Beneath, the description of injury. 2 boxes.
Non-fatal.
Right. Next.
Ligature.
A dark red abraded ligature mark encircling the neck, with a gap on the nape measuring, let's say, 7 centimeters. The hyoid bone is fractured, the cervical column intact. I see hemorrhaging on the skin, above and below the ligature mark. Depth of the mark, 1 centimeter. No signs of clawing on the neck.
Below the note, 2 customary boxes wait to be ticked. The man's head jerks to the side. The ring around his neck is visible.
That's it. We have established cause of death. It's not much, and it leaves much to be questioned. But it's a start. Let's wrap this up. I pronounce this field autopsy over. Well, we established probable cause of death. Some would say that's the goal of an autopsy. We requested a test to be run on the genitals. That was the règle. The results should arrive in a couple of weeks if we are lucky. We were thorough with the list of injuries too. We described them all in detail. What is there to say? Given the circumstances, it was a professional field autopsy.
Oh yeah, well done, Master Detective. Maybe a drink is in order?
Now, you see, that worries me. You will die if you drink. You know that, don't you? You are proving a useful detective. The organization would miss you.
Please get yourself together. The lieutenant from Precinct 57 thinks.
What now?
I need a copy of that autopsy form. Then I will drive him to Faubourg for processing.
He's thinking, did I miss something? Hobocop. Technically, you wouldn't be a cop anymore, but a hobo. That would mean game over for the cop chapter of your adventures. But who knows where the hobo part takes you? To the bar? The old L'Assommoir? To the pier or the sewers? To Le Royaume, where for 300 years they interred the dead. You could plunder royalist crypts for long-forgotten triple malt bourbon, then fight the Aramakan beast that lurks the bottommost sepulchres. The secrets of the city are all yours at last.
The Insulindian Civil War was not the first war to see the use of aerostatic aircraft on both sides, but it was the longest. For 8 years, folded multi-rotor aircraft crisscrossed the air above Revachol, Ozon, Face-la-Mer, and the Arcade Islands. They made sweeps over sandy beaches and shot each other out of the blue sky, and sank as wrecks to the bottom of the sea. The Aces High was a custom on the revolutionary side performed by his squadron mates after landing. Lieutenant gets roguelited. Why is that?
Yes?
I think you should know that I can't remember.
No response. He just arches his brow.
I don't remember anything.
Have you tried concentrating on something other than your personal affairs?
There is a sudden, harsh edge to his voice, like he's tired of hearing about your personal affairs.
I'm completely lacking in basic information about even this organization, right? Can you help
Fine.
me?
We should get through this day first. Off hours begin at 9 p.m. If you're still having trouble then, I can give you an orientation.
So what should I
Try work. The case at hand. It can work miracles.
What's wrong with personal affairs?
Not a fan. It's just the nature of lieutenancy.
The RCM deploys a self-styled structure called the Decomptage as its chain of command. Every lieutenant is responsible for 2 sergeants and 8 officers. That means the average lieutenant has to deal with quite a few personal affairs. Even you know this.
I'm afraid this is a medical situation.
Really? You look fine to me.
I'm talking serious, unbelievable damage here. I saw myself in the mirror and had no idea what
This psychodrama is unbecoming of an officer.
Okay.
Focus on other people's troubles, not your own. That is a relief.
Your heart beats twice like a fist. The serotonin deficiency makes your teeth clench.
Yeah, okay.
The lieutenant glances at his electronic wristwatch.
Okay.
A moment passes. The lieutenant glances at the sports watch on.
We'll be back.
Hello, sir. Step right in. The store is open.
Young girl with chubby red cheeks waves at you, smiling. Her nose also red and filled. Hello.
Are you interested in a new and exciting book?
She stomps her feet to feel warmer. What kind of store is this, anyway?
It's a bookstore, sir. We sell books, postcards, and some board games. It's called Crime, Romance, and Biographies of Famous People.
Whoa, 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 whoa. Hold your horses, little girl.
What is a book?
That is a book. They have stories inside them. It's like someone told you a story in a really long letter.
What's a postcard?
A postcard is a small cardboard picture. You can write a few words on the other side and send it to your friend or beloved.
She is unfazed by your questions. She would consider it impolite to point out any perceived weirdness.
What's a board game?
Board games are like little games on a table, made to pass the time. There are several different ones, but sailors here mostly buy cards.
Interesting.
My pleasure. Anything else you'd like to know?
Well, to ask you some questions, I need to have them answered immediately.
Okay, sir. I'll try to answer any questions you have. I hope they're about books.
What's
My
your
name is Annette, sir. My mum, her name is Plaisance. She owns the store. She's inside minding the register or organising the stock.
The girl gazes out the window and suddenly jolts her eyes wide as if recalling something.
Feel free to step in and browse our wares.
And you're standing out here in the cold
I'm
because...
signalling that the store is open. Otherwise, people might not know. They'd miss out on the crime, romance, and biographies of famous people.
A sudden gush of wind turns the pages of the books on the counters. She covers her face, smiling. But
You're
she's
cold.
cold.
I'm cold. Can I help in some
Kind
way?
of you to offer, sir.
What could you do to help her anyway?
I should have a word with the store owner?
Oh, no,
store
no,
owner,
sir.
maybe?
I'm happy to help Mum by luring in customers. Besides, I have some hot juice in my vacuum bottle to keep warm.
Don't you be at school or something?
I do my studies at home at the moment. I have to help Mum keep this place running.
What is school?
School? Well, mine is a big yellow building on Boogie Street, and the people there run it. They say it's a charity.
The gale wind blows in from the coast, a wind of needles. It wraps itself around a building of brick and mortar. Somewhere, a clamor rings through the honeycomb of classrooms.
But what is this feeling?
Remorse. The parquet of assembly halls. The rows of stall bars are growing cold. The corridors stand empty. A girl's voice somehow finds its way through this strange feeling. You haven't heard a word of what she's been saying these past few moments. You only hear...
Mum says it's necessary to do both because it builds character. Mum says a proper worker is dutiful. That's how you get ahead in life. You succeed.
And how's this business doing?
Mum says it's peachy. She was a little afraid at first. There's talk about this house being cursed.
Behind her, the window has been boarded up. You sense the boards creaking, twisting for a second, and some kind of doubt in her tense shoulders.
Cursed in what way?
Cursed in the way that makes them say that no business has ever really thrived here, sir. That they all go...
bankrupt.
Exactly. But we've been doing fine so far.
This sounds rather serious. I should probably look into this.
We can go into the bookstore and ask about the case. But I don't see much more to look into here.
Yes. Please do look at our wares inside. The postcards and board games you asked about are also there, sir.
What do you know about the other film?
Nothing really, sir. Mum doesn't allow me to sneak around in the back rooms or the cellar. I don't really know what's there.
How does this curse manifest?
It does not manifest itself in any way. It does not exist. I liked it better when we were talking about whether it's appropriate to stand out in the freezing weather.
But can the plasmic manifestations?
No such thing.
Lieutenant stands at your side, stern and serious.
Anything else you wanted to talk about, sir?
Enough about the curse, for now.
Maybe I can tell you about some of our books instead.
What is this crime?
Crime fiction is about murders or burglaries or things like that, and the work of a policeman or a private detective who's trying to solve a crime and catch the criminals.
Wait, not crime fiction. I need to know what crime is. No, I already know that.
It's exciting to people, I guess. They get to imagine dangerous things, and it's kind of like a puzzle, where you can guess who the criminal is, or how the good guys are going to catch him.
And the law.
You don't look much like a policeman.
That was a
Didn't mean to offend, sir. Sorry, sir. It's just that you don't look like Dick Mullen.
He points to a book cover on which you see a strapping Vespertine officer. He stands grimly over the body of a dead woman. No, nobody actually looks like the guy. It's not hard. Must be like that one guy that decided to live a little.
What's that mean?
You know, cut loose, raise hell, blow off steam.
And everything's better now, sir?
Yes.
That's great, sir.
You know, nobody actually looks like the guy in the picture. It's just a stupid fantasy man.
She looks at Dick Mullen. Frown. Dark, arrogant, violent. That's not a healthy look. Muscles get bigger. Heart grows weaker.
Probably got a violent streak because he's...
She examines the cover, trying to gauge the inner workings of the detective.
Emotional ineptitude is no way to cop. He can't compare to my sins.
Of course not, sir. He's just a fictional character. He'll be no match for you. Maybe you can show me some real police work, sir. Like in the books.
You stop calling me
No,
sir.
I can't. It would be too tiring to refrain from it. It's already tiring enough to remember to say it all the time. It's nice of you to say I could stop, though.
Sir, it is then.
By your command.
See you around.
Every snowflake is like a little gift from the sky.
You fail to deduce anything. She waits intently.
Like hell, we're ending it there.
Every snowflake is like a little gift from the sky. Every snowflake is like a little gift.
You felt.
Every snowflake is like a little...
The girl keeps her hands folded, hidden. Why is that?
Why do you keep your hands folded?
What do you mean, sir?
She looks
She
worried.
knows where this is going.
Don't need to be worried. I'm here to help.
She looks around anxiously. Her hands remain folded in front of her. She doesn't want to show them. The lieutenant stands by, looking at the two of you with little interest.
It's called socializing, Kim. Get invested.
A facade of true professionalism. He is far more intrigued by the situation than his poise reveals.
It's okay.
She brings out her reddened hands, her nails frayed, nearly chewed down to the flesh.
Bite your nails.
And you knew this from me keeping my hands folded?
And a few others.
Well, that proves nothing. Anyone could do an easy deduction like that.
But more like that I can figure out why you bite.
She nods, half provocative, half enthusiastic.
You're uptight because your mother and the pressure she puts on you. Rats have been nibbling on your fingers. Child labor and dismal working conditions.
Maybe so, sir. Okay, I know it's a bad habit, and I shouldn't. It was okay, sir.
Ace deduction. She's still got her revenge.
There's more that can be achieved here. Ask her to do the same.
You're quite sober.
The lieutenant does not flinch at the comment. He does not flinch even a single bit. He is intensely not flinching. It takes effort.
How do you know I'm usually not?
Because you usually aren't.
I am also sad in my head.
I'm sorry, sir. I hope things get better soon.
She looks you in the eye, a gleam of sympathy on her face.
There she stands, swaying on her feet, assaulted by the early spring breeze. She smiles at you. The whole situation suddenly feels familiar, somehow. You have absolutely no idea. Familiar? How? You must have forgotten something you heard again.
Okay, see you. I'll be a little late to be mentioning this, but this is not my first playthrough. I have started it up a few times, and actually did complete a playthrough of the game before they did the final cut off stream, so I do know a fair amount of things going on with the game here, but at the same time I did not uncover everything, so there's still probably some stuff for me to uncover, but for the most part this is just playing through the game, just having fun with it, just enjoying ourselves.
You see a set of tattered curtains blocking the way to another room. A strange cage-like trinket dangles from the curtains.
Excuse me, officer. The back room is strictly for employees only.
What's behind the curtains?
Nothing. Why aren't you browsing the books? Don't you feel compelled to look at the books?
Oddly enough, the more she tries to draw you away from the curtains, the more alluring they become. Just as you're about to pull apart the curtains, the petrified voice of the shop owner cries out once more.
Sir, don't touch that. I told you it's off limits for the customers.
The hand is closed around her pendant, her fingers nervously playing with the talisman.
Parapsychologically speaking, we're done if you decide to open them. I won't be held responsible for the consequences. It's too dangerous.
Let's see.
She looks away, mumbling. Why is everyone always messing with the curtains? Why can't they just buy books like normal people?
This is about the curse? That's why you're afraid?
No, it's just a storeroom for the employees, I told you. Now please step away from the curtains.
Man, this is different. I'm a police officer. I need to go.
Why? It's not like anyone was killed there.
She stops abruptly as her hand flies over her mouth, baffled by her own bluntness.
I'm sorry. I don't mean to be so impolite. Just please don't go there. I can't allow that. You'll only make things worse and unleash the powers.
I sense this place calling for me. I must investigate beyond the threshold.
You do? My God. Even more reasons not to mess with the curtains. Just step away, dear sir.
You can't stop me. I'll open them.
No! Please just talk to me, officer. Come here and let's talk this through before you decide to do anything extreme.
Lies. Rip them open, we say. There is something mysterious about the curtains. Be careful. You see a tattered set of curtains and a polyhedron-shaped cage-like trinket.
Open.
You see a dimly lit room full of dusty furniture and trash. A doorway stands in the back, covered in dozens of scary little cage-like trinkets, your shadow looming over it like an omen.
I warned you. You're unleashing forces beyond your understanding.
You're unleashing forces beyond your understanding.
Yes?
Vaguely androgynous portrait of a man. Merely looking at that unmanly haircut threatens your masculinity. David Bowie.
A heavy door with a missing handle stands before you, covered in dozens, if not hundreds, of little oddly shaped trinkets and charms. It appears to be locked. What if you just break it down? Only an echo. No one is there.
Maybe I should break it down, but not before I strategize.
That's right. Take in your surroundings. You need to have a solid ground and a proper posture if you want to succeed.
Check your posture.
Steady breathing. Solid core. You've got this. With one shoulder forward, you're ready to smash into the door like a battering ram. The room is dimly lit and littered with old barbershop rubbish, but the path to the door is clear.
And what about the
It's made of a solid block of wood, but it has stood there for ages. The hinges are old and coated with a carmine layer of rust. It should be doable. A heavy door with a missing handle stands before you, covered in dozens, if not hundreds. A heavy door with a missing handle stands before you, covered in dozens, if not hundreds, of little oddly shaped trinkets and charms. It appears to be locked. You smash into the wood and see a small crack appear on the doorframe. It's going to take one more try to break through to the other side. But you've done it.
You're not thinking of trying again, are you?
Fuck the system. Hello. Hello, everyone. Thank you for stopping by. True Blue Heart, thank you for the follow. Hell's Too Cold, thank you for the follow. And thank you, Aqua, for the raid. Nice to see everyone here. How's your stream going? It's going pretty well. Northwind Tweet, thank you also for the follow. Unrelated Show, Daniel, thank you. It is going well. I have been meaning to stream again for a while. just hadn't had time lately, so I figured tonight might as well go ahead and do it. Chips, thank you for the follow. How are things going in Red Dead Redemption 2? This is Disco Elysium Final Cut. This is actually the first day. I just completed the investigation for the murder scene. We're actually not very far along at all, but I just wanted to start again because they actually released a version called Final Cut where they actually went ahead and gave a lot of the voice lines proper voice acting. So while there's still a fair amount to actually read and discuss and whatnot, there's not nearly as much I have to do myself. Wow, what's going on in Cowboy Land there? Thank you for the follow. Right now, we just broke through a door covered in talismans, entering an area that the bookshop keeper believes is cursed. Send you dessert! Thank you! Welcome, welcome. How is everyone doing tonight? At 3 a.m. Saturday morning. That's a lot of stuff. What about Walmarts? They look unsafe. Sounds like quite the adventure. Oh yeah, while I actually have you guys here, how is the microphone sounding right now? I'm actually using the newer one that I got and am running a different audio setup. I managed to get Voice Meter Banana set up. Oh, thank you very much. I just had the inspiration to rework it the other night, so I went ahead and did it. Okay, good. Just doing some testing earlier, it had a bit of a weird electric sound to it, but messed around with a few more filters, so hopefully that helps. Yeah, that's usually what gets people like the detectives here involved, so. This fellow next to me is... Oh, let's see. Okay, that's awkward. This fellow with me is Kim Kitsuragi from the 57th precinct, I think? Oh. Let me just try a quick adjustment here. How does that sound? Excellent. This one, unlike my headset, actually has a volume knob on it that I can adjust. But yes, this game is Disco Elysium. You play the role of this fellow here, who is actually an amnesiac. Oh, the headset mic that I was using before was just some Turtle Beach. I think it was like an X32 or something like that. This one is just a Fifine K669B. It's actually a bit on the cheaper side. I just lucked out and found some good plugins actually to help with the quality a bit. This isn't actually a new one, it's one that I've had, it's just I wasn't sure how it would sound on stream.
What is this place?
Right now, we just broke into an old gym. It's an adventure. It's in another world. Beyond the veil. Looks like a gym to me.
Yes, but no one's been here in ages.
Draws a stripe on the dusty floor with his foot.
I doubt the electricity still works. Good thing we have a flashlight on us. Don't forget to take it out of your bag before we move on.
An eerie feeling rises in your chest.
What if there's a reason no one's been here for ages?
Yes, because it's closed. No need to look for supernatural explanations where a banal one will do. Now let's move on, shall we?
No.
A barbell lies on the floor. The color has worn off its weight plates. It's 60 kilograms. Your triceps hum at the sight of these weights. Show the world what kind of beast it's dealing with. Lift them. There are no collars on the barbell. This is a safety hazard. Why does it feel so familiar?
Is this familiar because I'm a weightlifter?
No, it's not that. It's the stale smell of rubber, the squeaky sound of sneakers, your bruised knee against the mat, and a whistle. Then the feeling is gone. It's just a memory from another life, when you were young and fit.
It's a trap. There's no collars on the barbell.
You're right. The weight may fall off. Better not touch it then.
What kind of bastard would just remove the collars? It should be a felony.
It would be a violation of EPIS safety regulations if the gym was still operating, but it isn't. No one's supposed to come here anymore.
That's not gonna stop me. But that might. That just might.
You manage to hoist it off the ground, but the barbell feels wobbly and dangerous. Your hands slick with sweat. Turns out you're no beast, just an old man with bad form.
Maybe these gloves just suck.
Proper weightlifting gloves would definitely afford a better grip.
We are now investigating a rundown old building. That we kind of broke into. With our shoulder. Wild animals stare at you in the dark, stuffed and mounted. A large demijohn full of strange liquid? I don't know what that is, actually. Airship rotors covered in spider webs remind you of blades. Ooh, money. Mannequin torso, strange yellow color. Blue velvet, soft to the touch. Mothbit. Steel rotor blades. Slipstream logo. Production schedule fillers. More skis. Money.
This old fireplace is covered in lines drawn in blue and red marker, the mesh spreading over the stone like blood vessels on alabaster skin. It looks ghostly and strangely ancient.
But what the hell is it?
Radio frequencies, it seems. UKV 123.6, UKV 123.7, UKV 123.9. Some written notes, too. Sparse and cryptic.
Radio frequencies for what?
Unclear. It looks like a cardiovascular system split into veins and capillaries. Very advanced.
So we're dealing with something medical here.
You think so? The web is comprised of radio stations, all lead back to one red heart, titled the Game Master Frequency. A note says, this one can listen in on any station it wants. Looks like a surveillance program.
Who's the Game Master?
Someone very important. The leader of a massive on-air game built by these people.
Be careful, chat. It's becoming self-aware.
Whoever decides to call in to a call-in station, it looks like. All of this is gone, left unrealized. There's no way a little basement studio working here could pull anything like this off.
My God. It's as if the less money they had, the more ambitious their project became. The schedule. I know doom when I see it. The company was running out of funding.
Nothing. It's just lines on marble. An echo from times long gone. No one has used the fireplace in ages.
And here we see the inside of EA Games.
Your flashlight slides over an old green chalkboard covered in scribbles, sketches, and schemes like some ancient cave mural. Some of the writing has faded with age, but you can still make out sections here and there. Photos and drawings have been pinned to the board.
Inspect the drawings.
These lithe, pointy-eared creatures appear to be different types of Welkins. You make out autumnal candle Welkins casting wax-based magic. Translucent Welkins with organs shining under their skin, and even ether Welkins hailing from the vast emptiness of sidereal space. Who are all those creatures? Fantasies of a tortured, feverish mind? One of the Welkins, towering among the rest, appears to be different, however.
Examine the Welkin.
It's Vara Hamira, a high Welkin, his face white and scarred like cracked marble. This is clearly a Welkin supremacist. The note says, all non-Welkin races will be purged. The Haldor, the Tworg, the humans, and even headless men, all of them, purged. Imagine a world filled only with Welkin, Green Welkin, Dread Welkin, and the High Welkin to rule them all.
J.R.R. Tolkien if he went into computer science, I guess.
An inordinate amount of time has gone into drawing these little Welkin creatures.
Why would anyone spend so much time on this?
Some people really like building a world, I think, even if it's just for a game.
This feels meta on some level. What are these
This
creatures?
looks like concept art for a project. It's not really real.
One of them is a Welkin supremacist.
Political commentary. That one has a great beard, too.
This has been educational. Let's move on.
Just look at those details. So much effort.
And for what? All gone. The photo collage depicts barren, icy landscapes wrapped in perpetual night. You see permafrost and glacial landforms, dead trees grown in under the snow. Entire oceans have been frozen from shore to shore. There are pictures of settlements on dried up riverbeds, abandoned in a storm. Animal corpses in the dark, carcasses and bones. Albeit dark and cold, this vision also feels cozy in its own way, like eggnog or morphine, a much-needed respite from our own world.
But a combination.
A pinned postcard reads, the heat death scenario, a desperate fight for geothermal energy engulfs the world as Wirral becomes untethered from its sun, drifting through the universe.
Inspect the schedule.
This is a monthly calendar from the year 50. Cryptic words like sprint, daily minimi, and GPI span the marker-drawn grid, the grand scheme of production and money. As time goes on, the numbers in the boxes grow rarer and rarer. The board becomes an empty snowfield in the final days. Only failure and regret dwell in this region.
Looks like they didn't make it.
Lieutenant looks at the frigid ice field of nothingness.
A note in the bottom left corner of the chalkboard says, "See the prod schedule filament for details." The handwriting is only partly legible, but you can still make out 3 slogans: Call in, Tune Out, Wirral Untethered, and Heat Death of the Universe. Outside, a cold wind wraps the building in its bosom. Snowflakes in the wind. An old woman passes what the locals call the doomed commercial area. She tries hard not to look at the bookstore windows. It's unwise. This appears to be some kind of machine with a cube-shaped heart and a wired framework. The keyboard has a rectangular on-off button. A piece of paper still hangs from the printer.
A radio computer. Just sitting here without anyone inside.
The machine lights up like some prehistoric animal stirring from its slumber, revealing fluorescent play and print keys on the keyboard. The hatch on the machine's central compartment is wide open.
But what lies within?
It's empty, like a beehive without its brood. Some cables have been left dangling, disconnected. The filament you have would fit perfectly inside the compartment. Like a smooth draw, the filament slides into place. On the keyboard, the play key starts blinking. A bar of fabric right above the keyboard starts producing a soft hum. The sound of static seeps through the machine's planar magnetic driver. Oh no. It was already glowing and now it's also making a sound. It's probably some alien CO-like technology. The static gets louder, slowly filling up the abandoned hall, until a voice speaks out, crackling and old, cutting into the air.
Good afternoon. Fortress accident en rue de Saint-Ghislaine. This is East Insulindian Repeater Station 1. Please repeat. Is this the production schedule?
What's the production schedule?
The filament you have inserted into the reader.
Yes.
Yes. Is that the production schedule?
Obviously.
Good. Please repeat the password.
Is it my birthday?
No.
Can I have a hint?
Still no.
Open this thing.
I am contractually obliged to protect the privacy of the filament holder Fortress accident. Without filing a warrant with Lintel, I cannot give you access to this filament.
Damn you, synchronistic copyright
I'm
technology.
afraid we are not doing that, unless we want to wait for a month.
Now, can you please repeat the password?
No.
Received. I will register this login attempt.
That sounds bad. A login attempt. Something a criminal would do. Don't worry. Passwords have a way of turning up sooner or later.
Fortress accident. Is there anything else I can do for you today?
Why did you call me Fortress Accident?
Fortress Accident is the company on whose name the terminal you are currently using has been registered to.
Reveal your secrets.
One moment.
Yeah, flip through a catalog before she reads out with studious care.
Fortress Accident SCA produces revolutionary interactive call-in radio games. That's what the catalog says.
And what is that?
Any other questions?
Are you a machine or alive?
Yes, I am alive. I am 74 years old and my name is Yvonne.
She repeats passwords. Programming people are all paranoid.
My partner tells me that you're here because radio computer guys are all paranoid.
They are merely cautious. It's my job to protect their filaments as a password repeater at the East Insulindian Station.
But where are you? How did you know where I am?
I work as a repeater at the East Insulindian Repeater Station. It's my job to know where you are, Fortress Accident.
It's my job to know where you are.
As for me, well, I am sitting in my cubicle, surrounded by a wall of radios.
On an island on the river Esperance, a small woman, all skin and bones, sits in a room filled with audio equipment. Thousands of tiny lights are reflected back from her prescription lenses, like stars in the dark. Doesn't it get lonely, sitting there all by herself?
Is it lonely there, living in a computer?
Lonely? Why would it get lonely? I get to talk to people all day.
That's why she does this.
Now, please tell me if there's anything else I can do, Fortress Accident.
That's all.
Thank you, and goodbye.
Tiles on the cube are still smoldering, casting the framework in a soft glow.
Developers of the most advanced RPG in the universe.
Okay. What do you think is going on with that computer, chalkboard, and fireplace?
Like an undercover counterintelligence program.
No, that's not it. I think it looks like one of those popular pen and paper role-playing games. Only these people were trying to automate it, make it work on radio computers.
Shit, they're onto us.
Utter madness, he thinks, as a compliment.
How are they planning to do that?
Through call-in stations. None of the players have to be physically present. Anyone in the world can participate in the game, as long as they have a two-way radio. Then there's the game master frequency that listens in on the smaller call-in stations. I think that was supposed to coordinate the stories, functioning as a master of ceremonies of sorts.
His fascination has swept aside other concerns for the moment. He's a little hooked.
Not to my knowledge. They make automated games in Grad, Messina, Königstein. You know, places with industry. But I don't think anyone has attempted to create an interisolary game before. We just don't have the technology.
And this was an RPG.
Indeed. Those Welkins are a dead giveaway. Role-playing people love that stuff. The world looks like a modified version of the WeWorld board game, with hit death thrown in.
And what happened?
No idea. They stopped filling out the schedule on the chalkboard.
Wow.
Indeed, it's ambitious and untethered from reality, but...
They were insane. It was just a way to play cheat out of money. Others. This world is cold and lonely. This would keep it company. Let's finish it.
It's too late for that, I'm afraid. Okay, let's keep moving.
Coward.
Your flashlight slides over and some of the writing has...
Oh.
This old fireplace.
Nope. Okay, moving on for now. Money and magnesium. And a bear. Okay. There's a bear.
You see a terrifying ice bear with a strange compartment in its belly. The door is covered in frost and the bear's eyes are glowing red. This ice bear is a hyper-carnivore. Be careful.
It looks like a giant ice bear.
The lieutenant doesn't answer. His eyes are glued to the animal. A sharp slice of light shines out from its mysterious belly door. A gust of freezing cold air rushes to greet you. You hear a low grumble as the bear regulates itself. This is the inside of a refrigerator. The lieutenant takes a peek inside. His hand has found the holster of his gun.
It's a fridge.
Of course, just a giant ice bear-shaped fridge.
Correct.
Let's take a look inside.
The shelves are empty. All you see are crumpled ice cream wrappers with the brand name, Revachol Ice City. A handwritten note has been attached to the door. The fridge is huge. You pocket the note and the little fridge magnets keeping it on the door.
Examine.
A friendly cartoon bear smiles back at you from a glossy cellophane wrapper. It looks nothing like the fridge.
It's a giant bear-shaped fridge doing an abandoned cellar in the first place.
Good question. It looks like an ice cream fridge.
The tenant reaches for one of the wrappers. He studies it in the light. So they tried to sell ice cream from his hyper-carnivore.
What an unfortunate marketing choice.
Would you buy ice cream from a hyper-carnivore, chat? Would you? I think it depends on the flavor.
What is even worse, the bear is still costing them money to this day.
The fridge buzzes with energy. The electricity bill on this thing must be catastrophic.
Well, it's collapsed, inaccessible now.
A thick layer of coal dust covers the furnace, coloring it pitch black. Looks like this furnace has a face, and it's a face of agony.
What is this thing? A furnace?
Looks like it. Looks like an old central furnace used to heat the building. It's connected to the chimney. No one has used it in ages. No signs of any recent fire. Only dead rats.
It's dark and grimy here. In the darkness you can hear chatter. It's coming from above. A voice or several voices talking to each other. Near the...
What are you doing?
Lieutenant asks when he sees you climb halfway down the furnace. I think I can hear someone talking upstairs.
Wait, really? We should investigate, see if someone's upstairs.
A lush layer of coal now covers your skin, sinking into the wrinkles. Your hands look ancient. You feel the spirit of Ramut Karzai, ancient hero of Grad, pulsing through you. All that's left is to cover your face in war paint.
Should I smear my face with war paint? Twitch integration. That's something for next time, I'm pretty sure.
3 dangerous stripes appear onto your cheeks, telling stories of your wild soul.
What are you doing?
I am the reincarnation of an ancient Ilmaran warrior.
Please wipe your face clean, officer.
Ow.
These 3 stripes give you strength in this dangerous realm. It would be foolish to remove them.
We're exploring this dark place. I'll need the protection of my war paint.
And this protects you.
It's traditional, and will grant me passage with the spirits that guard this place.
Okay, sure. Go ahead. Yes?
Rusty rifles, hidden above the piping, they look inoperable. Busted guns beneath the ceiling.
A few bricks have fallen off, revealing a compartment behind the wall. It's too dark to see in.
Where are we?
Seems like an old bunker from the revolutionary period. Look at all those rifles. Must be an old weapons cache.
Look, there's a hole in the wall.
There is, yes. And there also appears to be something inside the hole. Interesting.
Lasagna!
Do you want to take a look?
Hello! How are you doing tonight?
Your hand reaches deep into darkness and spiderwebs. Rummaging around, you find rusty rifles hidden away.
Rifles!
Are these any good?
Most of them are rusty and inoperable, like the rest, but one catches your eye. A bolt-action model with a fine wood stock, in better cosmetic order than the others. Take it. You're a police officer. Police officers carry guns.
This one looks nice.
That's a rare sight. Seems to no longer be functional, but still a beautiful thing in its own way.
What does this mean?
It means there are firearms, albeit inoperable, still lying around in Martinez. It's an interesting coincidence, I would say. Might come in useful in the future.
He likes this find.
No sapphire.
Two cables are plugged into the breaker box. The red one leads to the ice bear fridge, and the black one to the ice cream maker nearby. Something close to you dies with a soft electric purr.
Why did you do that?
I don't know why. I just
The
do
lieutenant
things.
raises his brows, but doesn't say anything. The electric distribution board now has one cable missing.
Now we're styling. Oh yeah.
The man is decomposing visibly now. Every hour, he looks less like a creature and more like a pile of intestines. The lieutenant adjusts his glasses and takes a deep breath.
Freeber is freaking out.
You run your hands over the victim's cold body, his limbs, his torso with its swollen organs. Maybe you should be more thorough. His fingernails have turned dark.
Do you think we missed something?
You can't shake the feeling that there are more secrets concealed in the flesh before you.
Yes, more we're not
Okay,
seeing.
well, we are in livor mortis here. He is disintegrating. We need to refrigerate the body if we want to conduct another examination, and we need to do it fast.
Where do we find a fridge? Oh,
Hey,
wait.
Wasn't there a giant ice bear sarcophagus below that building?
Why, yes.
Why, yes, there was. It was massive. Red eyes glowing in the dark.
An absolutely colossal fridge still plugged in, literally in the shape of an ice bear.
Yes. Now, I've rarely been disappointed by the size of a giant ice bear fridge, but I think we should still take a look at it first. Make sure it's big enough before we carry him over. Let's move. With every hour, whatever we are looking for in the deceased will become harder to find.
bear's eyes are still glowing red, watching over all the ice cream wrappers hidden inside its belly.
It looks big enough for 2 corpses.
It's certainly an eccentric choice, but it is capacious and cold enough, too.
But the optics on this are awful, he thinks. We need to be as silent as we can.
Shall we go and get the body, then? I'll take the head, you take the feet. The stairs won't be easy, but we'll manage.
The 2 of you. Easily. The body is heavier than you expected, and stinkier. It takes half an hour to get it down to the basement, then 10 more minutes to stuff it into the fridge. The lieutenant takes a step back to admire your handiwork.
Beautiful. A dead body in a nice bare fridge. This is some of the best police work I've ever done.
You've definitely earned a drink after this, perhaps even some pagan rites.
Yes, we need to celebrate by performing pagan rites. Let's break out the meat and set it on fire.
I knew you would say that. I knew this would lead to drinking. No, no more. This is paganistic enough, and it does not leave this room.
He means it. He doesn't want to be the ice bear cop.
Does that sound like anyone we know? This is a glorious achievement and people need to hear about
No,
it.
they do not. They need to hear about our uneventful, boring, downright conservative murder investigation. At least we've stopped the body from decomposing further. Now you can conduct another inspection under controlled circumstances.
Inside the icy realm of the ice bear fridge, the corpse stands slumped, waiting.
Tell me something.
Shoot, Looney Rooney.
How do you like it in the fridge?
I like it a lot, brother. This really is your finest hour. You're a genius, a regular Copperlangelo.
You said you have ancient mysteries.
Oh yes, Kobo Milobo, in the gift horse's mouth. Tracts and wakes and waterways. Ancient materials buried.
Yeah, but to where?
Just a small gulp away. My beloved Kobo. A small gulp away. Come back later, Coppo. Amuse yourself with my frank manners and my memento mori features.
The bear's eyes are still glowing red. Your arms reach out and your eyes close, as if by their own volition. It's dark all around. You feel cold, slippery flesh. First with your fingertips, it's right under the palm of your hand. His face, his cheeks, his nose, his fat, swollen lips. Like a rubber spider, your gloved hand crawls on his features. Everything is silent, all around. They are swollen shut. You need to really push to get in. Only the little one fits. The flesh changes shape as you bore in, searching for something in the cartilage. The thing you're looking for, it's not there. Crawl out, spider. You pick it between your fingers. The mass is even larger than your nose. Very porous, somehow. Like it's about to pop. Keep crawling, lest you break it. The oral cavity is cold and moist. A ball-like tongue attaches itself to the base of the mouth, lolling around like a scallop. You're on the right track.
Gross.
The tongue moves freely in the cavity. The mucus of the mouth is slippery, fragile, even through the latex. From the soft meat, teeth are budding. Hard pearls of bone in the gums and in the back of the mouth. Can you feel it? You're so close. Rip his jaws open now. Look in. A vision of black and dark red death, pried open by your hands and studded with teeth. Looks like he's laughing. Death fumes rising from his throat. And there, in the back of his mouth, above the bell of the uvula, right in the soft palate, you see a hole, barely visible to the human eye. It is swollen shut, almost vanished. No larger than 0.4 centimeters in radius, the edges appear darkened.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Keep going.
A black trickle of liquid runs into his throat from the wound. Your index fits right in there. A tight tunnel of flesh opens up. Tissue damage. Wide enough for 2 fingers. As you push both in, you reach through his mouth, right into his brainstem. Yes, that's what this part is called. You've seen the drawings. You've studied them. The basal ganglia feels clumpy. What entered here has torn apart his reptilian complex. The funk soul brother at the back of his head has gone dark forever. Your yellow fingers slide into the remains of the limbic system. There is no resistance. It's gelatinous. The slug-like structures are damaged too. The tearing extends deep into both hemispheres.
Yeah.
The lieutenant answers with the sound of his pen on paper.
This is so gross.
Your fingers are all the way in now, reaching toward the inside of his skull. The cavity goes further, but the entry wound isn't wide enough for the rest of your hand to follow. All the muscles in your body harden. Time to enter him. The cartilage gives in with a crack, like some fruit. Just like that, your hand is in his head. Strange fluid streams down your wrist, and then you feel it with the tip of your finger. Ice-cold serrated metal. Its edges cut right through the latex and into your finger. The pain is barely noticeable under the adrenaline rush. There's a tiny crack, a protrusion in the cranium, right in the back of his head. Your finger must be pointing straight at it, from the inside. The object that is in there stops just short of the skull, in the encephalus, knocking this tiny fracture into the cranium.
We have the makings of a very small exit wound here. Can you get to it?
You pick the object between your index and middle finger. Feels sharp, like metal. You press your teeth together. Your jaw is clenched. All you need to do is just...
Good.
The inside of the head feels cold and smooth, like a glove. Sweat dripping down your brow. Careful not to lose the prize between your fingers. With a plop, your hand emerges from the mouth. The garden glove is covered in blood right up to the wrist. Between your fingers, a small flower. A blossom made of lead.
A bullet.
The bullet falls in the bag, leaving a smattering of blood on the plastic. He raises the bag under his eyes and says,
A non-calibre. Rifled. Some kind of brittle alloy. Fractured on impact. Of course, you deserve it.
Lieutenant drops the bag in your hand. It feels light.
We need to add an item to the injury list. Injury number 4. Oval entry wound with an abrasion color. Soft palate, back of mouth. High velocity. Temporary cavity in brain tissue. Small exit wound on the occiput. How does that sound?
Sounds about right.
Opinion, fatal injury.
Agreed.
And one last thing. We should amend injury number 3. Ligament mark. New opinion? Non-fatal. Post-mortem. Treatment.
Ligament mark, the fractured hyoid bone was all treated.
Yes, and the belt around his neck. The hanging. Even dragging him to the yard. All of it was done after this man was already dead.
Dead, dabadoop.
Dead.
Agreed.
I have had my doubts since you showed me the tracks. Why did they carry him over? Why not march him, I thought. There was no satisfying explanation. There have been other signs too. Small details. Everything is too neatly designed for us to assign probable cause here, as we did, foolhardily. Well, no more.
We almost fell for it, he thinks. Almost.
Why would anyone do this?
To hide something. The real killer? The real motivation? What really happened here?
Who would do this?
That's for us to find out. But this, it will make finding them just a little easier.
I need to take a shower.
Oh, you really do. I am glad to hear you say that. Your room in the Whirling in Rags should come with a bathroom. Be sure to make use of it in the evening.
Maybe the bullet holes more.
Yes, we should take a closer look at it. I am certain it has more to tell us.
This little thing could reveal much about the weapon that shot it.
We put him in a bag and carry him to the holding pen of my kinema. The body bag should contain the odor for the duration of the transport. I would drive him to processing, but it's too late to do that today. One more thing. This was really good work, Detective.
The word lingers in the air of the basement. Far away, ice cream makers are buzzing, and the sea wind blows outside. Detective.
And with the completion of that, I think that will conclude Disco Elysium for tonight. It's getting fairly late here already, and my voice is starting to go. It has been a little bit since I narrated anything this long. But thank you again to Aqualung for the raid, and thank you to... That was too cold? Oh, where can I get it? Oh, hold on. That was too cold, Northwind Tweak, Unrelated Show Daniel, Chip 7, This Lubu, Sentient Dessert, thank you all for the follows. I am definitely going to try and establish a more regular schedule for doing this. It's just something I've been meaning to do. And for those of you who have followed and stuck around, I apologize that I have not done it nearly enough. So, I look forward to streaming more often in the near future. And we will continue either with this, or possibly starting up with Hollow Knight. Probably continuing with this, however, though. Just to give it a full proper playthrough on stream. I've been trying to do that a few times. Before they did Final Cut, there was just far too much text that needed to be read. But with the voice lines added, that should be a bit more possible. And there's Twitch integration for this, so if anyone wants to stop by next time I'll be streaming, there's a little bit more interactivity too, a little more interactivity with the story and choices. So we will take that then. Let's see. And for anyone sticking around, I think I'm going to send who's still hanging out here over to Interpretive Twerking, who is currently playing Resident Evil Village. So, stick around if you want to watch, or don't. It's up to you, I mean, really. But it is getting pretty late here, so good night everyone, have a good weekend, and thank you to Aqualung for the raid, it's very appreciated, and it is good to be back. I will see you all later, and have a good night.